Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Okay. Something like that. Intro music. You know, I do my own. Different every time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another MerlinCast. This will be the last one of the year. We're actually recording it on New Year's Eve, 2019. Another year wrapped up, man. How does it feel?
Actually, I feel like it went by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it really did. Well, basically, man, this is OWC Cyborg once again, joining me for another movie convo.
Indeed.
And, the plan for today, everybody, is we're going to kind of go over some movies because I actually thought this year was really bad for me. I usually am pretty good about keeping up with movies, but I was like, oh, man, I feel like I didn't see that much this year. But in terms of major things I wanted to see, I thought I did pretty decent.
And you were better than me at actually seeing stuff. I didn't get to a lot of stuff, even stuff that came out of the movies, but made it to like HBO or something. I still never got around to it, so kind of mad at myself this year. But I'll just do better 2020.
There we go. That's a good affirmation for you. And I'll tell you what, maybe through this you'll get to see maybe more excitement about some movies or maybe less about others. So we'll get to find out, and you'll give me the same. So basically the program for tonight, because we are semi-organized this evening, is we're going to basically discuss the movies that I saw, and Cyborg here is going to kind of chime in, and if he saw it, we're going to have a conversation, or he'll just kind of react to what I say and give me his thoughts. We'll work our way up, and then he'll tell me reaction time, and he'll then tell me about some movies that I missed that he managed to see, which is cool. And then we'll end on what I think the best film of the year was, and then he can give me his thoughts and then tell me his. So maybe we'll list it, or maybe we won't. Maybe it's something I haven't seen. I don't know, so we'll be surprised. I feel like this might be a long one. I never say it's short anymore. Never do.
I never are.
All right. Well, big disappointment for me. I was looking through the list, and I was sure I knew from the get-go what my least favorite movie was this year, which we'll talk about in a bit, but it wasn't that. Upon recollection, my least favorite movie of 2019 was Hellboy. Did you hear anything about that?
I pretty much heard everyone I know that have seen it, and some people I don't know from YouTube have said what you said. It's one of the worst of 2019, which is a little disheartening. Yeah,
it really was, man. And the thing was, it's actually probably it rubbed off a bit because my girlfriend Honey Lemon, it was one of her most anticipated for the year. She's not a huge comic book person, but she really likes the original Hellboy movies. Like, she really likes that version of the character.
Yeah.
And you do too, right?
Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah.
I really like Ron Perlman, and I did like the gentleman that got to play it, the guy from Stranger Things. What was his name? Dave Harbour, and she's also a big fan of him because of Stranger Things. So we thought, great combo. He seemed like he had the characterization down, the makeup looked good on him, and I'm like, you know what? Seems like a good mix. I'll tell you, man, I didn't actually review it for the channel. That's how bad it was. I saw it with a buddy of mine, and normally I try to do a review if it's a comic book geeky thing, and I had no energy for it. I feel so disheartened. I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm not even going to talk about it, and which really says something, because talking about movies is pretty much all I do. So like, I was like, that's really bad. Short version. They just cram a lot of bad exposition. The CGI looks horrifying. Like, for some of there was a lot of overdone gore, but it was like, it's like they tried to do too much of it. It was excessive. And the worst thing about the movie, if they had just changed this one element, it would have been a lot better. It's kind of a similar issue I have with another much bigger movie, is about pacing. Even if it's a bigger movie that's fantastical, we want to connect to our characters. You want to have quieter moments to let them breathe and, take a break from the action.
Yeah.
Because, a movie with constant action but no characterization or plot to attach anything to it is just noise, right? Like Transformers.
Unless you're Fast and Furious.
But with Fast and Furious, though, there is a lineage of movies with characters that we know and like.
Yeah, there are.
So, yes, but not to that extent.
Yeah, they have... Moments. At this point, moments that have fleshed out.
Where they talk about family.
Yeah, the family, so to speak. Well, so how did David Harbour do at least?
Okay. Well, I'm going to bash it one more time, then I'll say that. The biggest thing with the movie is pacing, and this movie was just constant action. It didn't slow down at all. It gave you a headache. Ooh. It was physically unpleasant to watch. So it was just a bad experience generally. David Harbour was fine.
Okay.
He was easily the best part of the movie, but he still felt a little underwritten. The comedy didn't work too well with the timing. And like I said, they'd established certain characters, but not really explain who they were till like the end of the movie. And you'd be like, oh, he met this person, and they have a connection because why? And then there was one person who has a twist involved. They kind of join forces, but he seems like he's got a problem with Hellboy, and they don't explain it throughout the whole movie. And then at the very end, you realize what's going on. I'm like, oh, well, if I cared about the character, I'd care about that twist. This is just kind of annoying and feels tacked on. It was rough, man. But David Harbour was fine. I wish he was in a better movie.
Well, I randomly, speaking of movies that I could have saw even on HBO, I randomly was channel surfing and I saw that it was on.
Oh yeah.
So I saw a brief scene of looks like David Harbour as Hellboy speaking to Ian McShane as like some type of snake person.
Oh.
And I said, this looks creepy, and I turned away from it.
Didn't that look unpleasant?
It looked weird.
It wasn't fun to look at.
I thought that maybe this looks creepy and weird and nasty, and I don't know what this is, but I didn't see any of the movie before this, so maybe I'm just missing out. I have to watch it from the beginning.
All the CGI looks like that.
Oh, that's not comforting.
It's not. It's just ew. So that was Hellboy. I hate to say it, but it was my least favorite movie of the year.
Ooh, okay.
Moving on up on this list. The second one.
We can only go up from here.
We can, and even the least favorite of the second least favorite was one that is much better, technically speaking, but I was still very disappointed in it. My friends. Okay, one of my favorite Stephen King novels is It. We were talking about before the show, and I really was excited about the new movie, but I didn't get around to seeing it until recently. And everyone was like, Merlin, Joe, you got to see it. You got to see it. And the first part I thought was excellent. I watched the second part, and it just wasn't as good. It was just a lot of jump scares, a lot of kind of redoing the same thing. They use a lot of shots from the first movie and just kind of add in scenes, so it kind of breaks up the story a lot.
So do you think they tried to please people who didn't see the first one?
It seemed like it. There was a lot of sequences where they just took scenes that looked like they were supposed to be from the first movie when they're kids again. And I'm like, well, if you were going to split it, you did the whole movie as kids. We want them as adults, but it breaks it up more, and it just becomes a series of things we saw again. But the kids seem less impressive. And the scares are not as strong either. So it was very weird. It was 3 hours long or something too. So it was like,
that seemed to be a common theme this year. I feel like, because when you gave me the list and I tried to catch up as much as I could, trust me, I tried.
I know.
But I'm looking at the list and I'm like, 3-hour movie, 3-hour movie, 3-hour movie, 3-hour movie. Okay, I don't know how much I'm gonna get to.
Yeah, they're long, but I thought it was a bit too long for chapter 2, and it was mostly because my friend who I was seeing with also was not having a good time with it. He was very disappointed. So we actually left the theater.
Really?
Yeah, we actually left. So
didn't finish it.
It's kind of with an asterisk, but I really was very bored by it. So,
as I always ask, how did the actors do?
The actors were fine.
The adult versions of the kids.
They were fine, though. You know what? I actually think the kids did a little better. It's something about the atmosphere of the kids fighting their fears, and they were more childlike. I remember the book kind of echoes more adult fears, and I don't know if the movie quite sold that as well.
Okay.
So
do you think, if you can remember, the adults did better on the ABC movie? If you can remember.
Possibly. It has been a long time since I saw that. I just think that one was...
I heard Bill Hader did good.
Bill Hader was fine. McAvoy's fine. I like Jessica Chastain. You know, she was good. Like, the actors were all fine. It was just, once again, pacing, and I think the writing could have been a little better. And also, I was very disappointed because there's some...
Was it the same director?
I think so.
That's interesting that it's comes out so different if it's the same director. Huh?
I'm not sure. Maybe it was an editing issue, but I know for me personally, I was a little disappointed because there's one big element of the book that they left out. I kind of wish they would. And I was hoping because this one was going to be so expansive, they talk about it. And there's a little Easter egg about it, but there's this whole mythical character related to the Pennywise character that's just not really in the movie, and it's kind of a big part of the book.
I was going to ask, so it's an integral part of the book because I haven't read the book. So it's an integral part of the book.
Yeah, like explaining everything about it as a creature. Yeah.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah, it is. There's just a nod to it. I'm like, man, you could have just done a movie. So I was disappointed about that. You excited about seeing it then?
I think I still want to see it. A little disappointed though, because that, like what you said, that's what I've heard. That's another thing. A lot of times, I haven't heard the movies that I've missed. Mm-hmm. There weren't many that gave me the urgency. Mm-hmm. Because even though I talk to you, I talk to other friends, and they'll tell me like, "Oh, you need to see this. You need to see this." I haven't gotten that much. You need to see this year for some reason, and
yeah.
Then it gets put on the back burner. Next thing I know, it's way too far gone. So.
I guess I'm partially responsible for that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you want to see it? I'm like, yeah, it was all right. This is pretty good. Like, I think I have even said like you can wait or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you've said that a lot this year.
Because I'm like, because tickets are expensive. You were talking about it today.
We were actually, ironically,
you were talking about it.
It is a whole experience to go to the movies now because everything is so expensive. It really dampens the experience if you do all that, like we were saying with Keenan, another coworker of us. Mm-hmm. You do all that, you got your tickets, your snacks, and everything, which isn't cheap.
It adds up.
And then you go to the movie and you're not satisfied. It's like it kills everything. It kills the whole night. Ruined. Ruined. So now it's like stuff has to be almost stellar for you to enjoy it. But me being a movie guy, even if someone said like it's good, you should go see it. Mm-hmm. Like that'll probably be the most recent movie I think you guys have said that, which was Rise of Skywalker. See, I'm actually John is the first person that has the most gleaming reviews of.
Well, John likes all the Star Wars stuff, like it seems. So
yeah, because he went into detail about the other stuff, which seems interesting. But I'm thinking, what are they going to do now? Because they're going to keep it going.
Hey, did he spoil it for you?
No.
Okay, all right.
He just was saying, because he asked me again, like, did you see it?
And you're like, oh.
Exposition for the listeners. Somebody else we work with is really into the Star Wars. I'm a fan, and so is Joe. But it's another one. He said, "Well, you can wait if you want." So but John is no, go see it. Go. He's actually asked me twice. So much so, I'm actually off tomorrow.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you when we get there. I'm looking forward to talking
we'll go
about
in
it.
detail when we get up.
But I can really look forward to rant again though, because the movie that hurt me the most personally this year was Glass.
Another one.
Glass. I up until I remembered Hellboy, it was so bad I blocked it from memory. I was gonna say Glass was my least favorite. Because
it hurt the most.
Because I had the most anticipation for it. So like it's technically as bad as Hellboy or even it. No, I think there's a lot of substance in Glass. I think there's a lot of good ideas. Samuel L. Jackson does great as Mr. Glass. The actors are all there. There's some good ideas. Some of the story elements I kind of like, but just the resolution is classic Shyamalan. Classic bad Shyamalan where there's a twist that's unnecessary, stupid, and even though there's interesting ideas about playing around with,
he was going so well.
He was. Then they trying to play with the psychology versus are they actually superheroes? I liked what he was going for, but it does really feel like he basically destroyed a lot of his fans' love for some of those characters. And do you know about the movie? No spoilers.
I mean, you can tell. You can.
No, I don't want. Are you gonna watch it?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't spoil it for you.
Okay.
But basically, the way it resolves for all those characters, it's a disappointment. Like it feels. There's one character where it feels like an actual slap in the face. Like if you waited all these years with excitement for a resolution to Unbreakable and Split, and especially if you're a fan of Unbreakable, it's like one of his best movies. People have been like, it's a cult classic. People would say, hey, we want more Unbreakable stuff, and it did feel like it just felt very disappointing to see some of those story beats resolved that way. It really hurt. Like I'm trying to like be non-spoilery, but it's like it's not. It's irritating. So I did not like that move, and it just the twist was kind of also out of nowhere and unnecessary, and so yeah, I think it's worth a watch, but the way I look at it, I kind of sort of pick and choose and say Glass doesn't really exist and Unbreakable is just its own thing now. Like I'm fine with Unbreakable not having a resolution, not finding out what happened to those characters. There was no sequel. I'm fine thinking that, basically.
My thing is, maybe that's why I haven't seen it yet, is because I've heard, again, you echo some of the same things I've heard, and I'm not ready to see the disappointment, because, like you said, it's been years, and I still remember the moment watching Split and already liking Split.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Thinking Split was great. And
then
James McAvoy.
Yep.
Awesome in that movie.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end, it's connected. What?
Oh.
Blew my mind.
No, I agree with you, man, because Unbreakable is one of my favorite movies.
Right.
It's one of my favorite movies, and Split, like you said, was good. It was like, this is a really good Shyamalan movie again. Yeah. And then at the end, I remember I heard the theme. I heard the Unbreakable theme, and I was just like, wait, I know that music. That's Bruce Willis's character in Unbreakable. That's the theme for him when he's the Green Guardian. I'm like, oh snap!
Yeah,
it's like there was a guy like that before. Who was it? Yeah, they called him Mr. Glass. I was like, oh. And my mind was blown. I'm like, what? There's a secret. It's a secret Unbreakable sequel, and there's gonna be another one. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that was a great surprise.
Yeah,
I was very happy about that, and I don't know. Maybe it's because I was so attached to some things, but I just didn't like the way they resolved a lot of things. So maybe with the hype kind of lesson for you, maybe you can go into it with a clear mind, and maybe you can find another perspective. Because maybe I could go back and watch it again and look at it a different way, but I just really liked. Well, I liked all the characters, and I think only one of them gets a good resolution to the arc that feels not like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? So you'll see it and you'll know what I mean. Like there's literally a moment you're like, really, that's how it's gonna end. Like it's infuriating.
I'm gonna watch a lot of these. I'm gonna watch a lot of movies tomorrow.
He's gonna catch up on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but Glass, I think you can wait.
Okay.
Unless you really want to just talk about it and complain about it. Because I'd love to hear you agree or disagree. But like, you know what? Wasn't really that bad. I don't think that. I'd be very surprised if that's what you said. But the good thing is, after this point, it's mostly more positive.
Okay.
I kind of entered what I'd call the more middling section.
Okay. Let's do it.
So
the middle ground.
Lion King.
Yeah.
Lion King, I'll keep it short and sweet for you, unless you have questions. Did you see it?
I did not.
Okay.
Again, because of the reviews.
Okay. Well, then you might not be too surprised. Lion King, beautifully animated, completely unnecessary remake from Disney. I like the photorealistic lions. They look great. There's, of course, elements of cuteness. I have a couple of big problems with it. And this actually isn't that nostalgic, because I did grow up with The Lion King. I love Lion King, but it's not like one of my top tier Disney movies necessarily.
Right.
But I watched it a lot as a kid. The movie is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the original 2D animated one.
Now, question. No, not really confession. I think I've said this on the podcast
Confession.
Before. I haven't seen any of the remakes.
Oh,
yeah, we discussed this.
We talked about that, yeah.
Are the other remakes that you've seen, are they a shot-for-shot or not so much?
No. This was the first one I saw where it was like, wait a minute. They're literally trying to do like frame by frame, almost exact recreations of so many of these shots. And I'm like, don't do that. I don't want to, like, I want to see something different if I'm coming here.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different style, but it's literally like the animals are making the same motions, except they're not colorful cartoons. They're, I feel like I'm watching
looking lions.
Which is fine, but I also, that leads into a second problem I really have with the movie. What is Lion King best known for besides the animation?
The music.
The iconic songs.
Yeah.
Well, combined, first of all, one of the benefits of the 2D animation, which people brought up, you probably heard about, is because they're cartoony, they're not real life. Whenever they do the musical numbers, they kind of teleport into weird backgrounds and colorful, like Just Can't Wait to Be King, very colorful, psychedelic sort of thing.
Yeah.
What do you think doing that? They just have the animals prance around, waving their arms up around the dirt with dirt kicking up. I'm like, it doesn't have the same effect. You know, you're laughing. See, it doesn't have the same effect. And also,
because I'm picturing.
Well, you'll see it if you watch it. It's like it doesn't work. They're just like like antelope shifting a little. Like it's not, and it also doesn't help. The music isn't as good. Like it isn't. And the version of Be Prepared, which is like my favorite song, one of the great Disney villain songs, is weak. It's mostly spoken word, and it's just it's off key. It's weird. I didn't like that. And the third part might be a little bit of nostalgic bias for me, and I appreciated the direction they went with the cast, but some of those voices from the original are so iconic, you're judging the performances, and I'm disappointed to say, Glover, he's not as good as Broderick. Like, you felt like Broderick was really into the character behind the booth, you know? I didn't think Glover... I've seen him give better performances. I didn't think he was giving it his all this time. Like, he did the song well, but I just didn't think he did the character quite as well.
And that's another thing with a lot of these, when I hear people talk, I get pre-disappointed. Because I was excited for that, too, because of the cast. And on paper, sounds great. I was even glad they got... of course... If they would have got anybody else but James Earl Jones to be...
He was fine. He's James Earl Jones.
Yeah, if he's still here, which he is, and they got somebody else, that would have been ridiculous. But
that would have been ridiculous.
Absolutely. But, hearing everything you said, I've heard. Even stuff I didn't think about until hearing what people said, because even when the... trailers came out and it looked great because photorealistic animation that almost doesn't even look like animation.
Sure.
Looks great. But then I guess you realize it when you watch the movie as you're going through, because like you said, because it was 2D, they can actually draw them to emote.
Yes.
In their faces. Can't really do that, and if it's supposed to be, if they're going for realism here,
defeats the style. Works against itself, yeah.
It didn't work. So, maybe they'll take this as a learning lesson that maybe not all of their movies should be done live action, quote unquote.
I hate that live. It's not really live action.
It's not really. It's as live as you can get, I guess. Because it's talking animals. Or maybe try to just do ones that are based on people from now on. Like, you did... Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella, maybe those where there's actors that can bring this to life.
I thought those were a little better.
See, that's the ones that are, and they're doing Mulan, so that's the next one.
See, I don't know, man. I just think I don't know.
Too much.
I have mixed feelings about remakes because I see if they're out. If they can bring something new to the table, sure. But this one, I just felt like it didn't do that.
And that's the thing. It doesn't surprise me honestly because it's Disney. Why not make new money off of your old stuff?
It's easy.
Yeah. But I guess that's what they were. Maybe that's why I said that could be something fresh because we see actually live people playing these characters.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the future, like I can't even think. What's another popular animal based or animal heavy
Disney movie
that could be messed up again, like
Fox and the Hound, Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
Well, Jungle Book they already did. It was very animal heavy. I feel like I'm blanking. I'm sure there's more animal.
There has to be more.
Bambi.
Oh yeah.
To go back and do CGI Bambi.
Let's do that.
This is a little weird.
Lady in a Tramp.
Oh yeah. Well,
they're doing that.
Yeah, it was released on Disney Plus, I think.
It's released.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know. I'll have to, because I just been looking at The Mandalorian on my. I haven't even perused much yet.
Well, I heard that people were canceling Disney Plus after they finished Mandalorian. So. To be honest, I haven't watched it yet, and I like the back catalog of things, but in terms of new content, there isn't really that much else besides The Mandalorian right now.
Honestly, yeah, because a lot of stuff that I've seen is like, if you're a fan of the Disney Channel type of content, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I watched the Goof Troop movies again recently, and they're pretty good. The Goofy movies, I really like that.
Yeah,
they were. I actually hadn't seen the second one, I think, ever, or in a very long time.
Not too many people have, because it was one of those straight to DVD
video ones. Yeah. And yeah, my girlfriend was like, "Oh, we want to watch the Goofy movies," and that's the thing. I didn't watch Mandalorian yet, and she was like, "I'll watch it with her." And I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, they are pretty good. Like they capture the high school and college vibe really well, surprisingly.
Yeah, they're one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
They don't go live action in that.
Goofy. Oh, that might be horrifying.
Don't go live action in Goofy.
I hope don't give them ideas. They might pick it up. Oh no! Who knows when they run out of stuff? Okay. Child's Play. This one?
No.
Okay. What'd you hear about it?
I heard that it was okay. I heard that it was
okay.
A nice update of like how Chucky is Chucky.
Yes.
Some people didn't like that. Some people liked the whole thing of the actual soul being in the
more supernatural.
Yeah. But I mean, for this day and age, I get it.
I'll keep this one brief. My one buddy I saw with Troll, he's a big horror fan, and I think he liked it more than I did. He had a really good point, though. He said, it's pretty decent, but it's not really a Child's Play movie. Because there is that nature of the character. They changed the character where he's not even the same character, really. He's the same doll, right. But you're right, Chucky is the evil serial killer in the doll's body.
Right.
This one, it's kind of like an AI that gets reprogrammed and goes evil accidentally. But it is kind of cool to see it start off kind of wanting to befriend the child and misinterpret threats from bullies as a way to protect him, and just goes out of control. I liked that. Kind of the boy and his dog, boy and his robot sort of trope.
Yeah.
But they framed it into a horror movie, and that was cool. But I guess it was different. So depending on how hardcore you are about that aspect, you may or may not like it. But it was enjoyable. I will say you probably know the best thing about the movie.
Is Chucky?
Mark Hamill voiced him.
Oh.
So it was a different interpretation. And he did a really good job. And I also think that the child actors did good, and there was some good comedy.
Well, that piqued my interest a little more.
Yeah. Mark Hamill was the voice. That's why I wanted to see it. I was like, otherwise I probably would Child's Play remake it. But Mark Hamill's voicing, like, I'll go for that.
Yeah.
Because you know me, I'm a big Mark Hamill fan.
Absolute.
So he was not the Joker. It sounded different. It sounded different.
That was my next question. I'm like, He's pretty iconic in the voice world.
But he's done a lot of voices, though.
Yeah, that's true.
If you look at his filmography, he's done a lot of different voices.
That's true.
You might not notice him sometimes. But, yeah, Child's Play was all right.
All right, so actually one that I've actually came away feeling optimistic.
I realized I wasn't quite as hardcore about my middle ones because I'm like, I don't really care about the rankings that much. So these might be a little bit off, but Dumbo. Speaking of live action remakes.
I actually forgot that came out. Wow.
I think many people did. Tim Burton Dumbo was fine.
Was it weird?
It wasn't that Burton-y.
Interesting.
It was decent. Good cast. You know, some classic Burton. You know, posse. You got Michael Keaton. You got Danny DeVito. Colin Farrell was in it. Eva Green. You know, she's great. She was in there.
Okay.
I watched the shout out to my buddy over at Dan Reviews It. We're going over the classic animated Disney movies, so they're kind of, some of them are fresh in my mind, some of the early ones, and really great. Like if you ever go back and watch just for the animation alone, they're the fact they did some of the things they did back in like the 40s is just like mind blowing. This one I just feel like there wasn't that much story in the movie, so they kind of added on this whole other human element, and it's fine, but it does feel like it's kind of overdoing it. Like it's okay, like it was fine. I wouldn't tell you like never watch it. Like it's kind of one of those things like if it was on in the background, like check it out, or if you're really bored maybe, like it's worth a watch. But I thought it was fine. It was a decent, okay Disney movie.
So I was curious to know.
It was different than The Lion King. It was different interpretation. So.
Did they? Oh yeah, it wasn't shot for shot.
No, it was a different vision, different story.
So that means they didn't do Heckle and Jekyll.
The
Heckle. The Crows.
Oh, the Jim Crow people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one thing I was looking for. They do say you believe an elephant can fly, but it's some guy in the crowd. The Crows are nowhere. The Crows are nowhere.
I was wondering because in this day and age, that's the type of thing that wouldn't go over well. Nowadays.
No, it wouldn't. Well, actually, how do you feel about the Crows?
It's one of those things that yes, it is offensive looking at it now as an adult, but as a kid,
I didn't
actually that was one of my favorite parts. The song where they do when I see an elephant fly but. Looking at it now is like cringy.
It's a little cringy. I noticed something kind of weird about the Crows, which I know there was that whole controversy about, I guess, removing them from the original movie, which I don't know if I agree with because erasing history and all that.
Yeah.
But I will say this about the Crows in the original one, which I was thinking, oh man, when it comes to the scene, is it going to be like, so offensive badly? And I realized that the Crows aren't meant to like be. I guess bad characters or anything. Right. They're kind of bullying Dumbo, making fun of him. But I did like the fact that Crows in the original, they gave him some development where they felt bad for him and then they helped him.
Yeah.
So and they believed he could fly. I'm like, I don't know. I guess the fact that they are what they are is kind of unfortunate. But as characters in the movie, I don't think they were in the 1940s way. I don't know if they were trying to be bad caricatures. I feel like there was more racist things and other things.
Yeah, there's definitely worse things.
So, yeah. But either way,
and they've been worse. Disney has been worse. Song of the South. If you don't know, look that up.
There's no. They have hid that one away.
Yeah.
So they locked it in the vault. Let's re-release Song of the South and cut out all of the plantation stuff. What is it, like 2 minutes?
Exactly.
We're probably going to get to that at some point on the Dan Reviews It. So I'm looking forward to that because I've never actually seen it in full. So I've heard it's pretty bad.
I've only seen snippets in it. Yeah, it's bad.
Okay, well I'm looking forward to that or not. I don't know. I'm sure I'll like the animation at least. But anyway, there were no crows in this one. Okay. So I think Burton was like, I'm not gonna mess with that.
Not gonna touch it.
No. But it was fine. It was a different.
That's good.
I liked. I liked Dumbo in it. He was good.
That's good.
The good elephant. You know, I liked him. It's fine. Anyway, that was Dumbo. You said you saw part of this one. This one surprised me, and I know for a fact that on other people's lists, this is probably like towards the bottom or something.
Yeah.
And my buddy Dan, he was like, "Man, I didn't like it," but I kind of did. I'm kind of a Liam Neeson fan, the old action hero guy. He's been doing since Taken. He's made like 10 of the same movies. Cold Pursuit.
Or Taken on Ice.
He's Don't Be Under Ice. It's a remake of some movie, some foreign film where he gets revenge on people killing his son, and it takes place in like Alaska.
I think it's in Alaska, yeah.
And he's like a snowplow guy. That's like his thing. I liked it. And does that surprise you? You can be honest.
Kinda, yeah.
It's surprising.
When you put that on the list, I said, really? Cold Pursuit.
Yeah, because of this. Okay, on paper, right? At first, it looks like a pretty standard Liam Neeson action get revenge movie. But this movie, if you watch it, it's a dark comedy, and it's constantly making fun of those types of movies. The movie is an in-joke about that part of Liam Neeson's career.
Really?
You watch the movie, it's like he'll...
I'm going to rewatch the whole thing in that lens.
Seriously, look for it. The whole movie is like there's all kinds of beats you're expecting, and they won't do that, and it'll just sharply go. It's making fun of those types of movies. Like it is kind of dark and serious, but there's so many beats. I'm like, he's acknowledging that he's done this 100 times. I kind of appreciated the dark humor. I thought it was a little smarter than what's the other one he did. Actually, I kind of like that Nonstop or The Commuter or Taken 3. Well, anything's better than Taken 3.
Taken 3, Nonstop, Nonstop, which is what, taken in on a plane, and then The Commuter, which is taken on a train.
A bunch of those.
Yeah.
He also did one. He did one I forgot I was mentioned about for the decades, but he did another revenge movie where he was in the mob or something. There's another one.
Wow.
With Joel Kinnaman. I forget the movie, but
yeah,
remember that one?
It too.
Yeah, In the Night or something. You know what? I have the internet. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, and he also did The Gray.
I liked The Gray though.
Wolves.
I liked The Gray though. I did. That was a very dark movie.
It was.
It's a very, very bleak film.
Taken with Wolves.
Taken with Wolves. I don't think it was. It was a little more artsy than that.
It wasn't a beat for beat.
Run All Night.
Run All Night. Interesting.
With what was his name? Was the villain? Common. Common was the hitman.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't see that.
I liked it. But I'm as a joke. The old Film Fanatics podcast for me, I put like any movie associated with the mafia. I love a good mob movie, even a bad mob movie. I'm like, well, I'll pass it. I won't fail it, even though there are some really bad ones. But it's kind of an in joke. Oh yeah, but Cold Pursuit I thought was actually interesting.
Okay, another optimistic one. Now that I'll because I saw maybe a good 15, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things. Again, it was on HBO, and I watched it enough, and I said, you know what, I want to watch this from the beginning. I just stopped watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now when I watch it from the beginning, I'll watch it through that lens.
Okay.
So
yeah, give it a watch. I don't know if I'd go all out and say like rewatch it all the time, but like it wasn't bad. I would probably watch it again sometime.
Okay.
Like it was interesting, and the fact that he I love a good cheesy element like that. Oh yes, I'm gonna kill you with the snowplow. I'm gonna bury them all in snow. And he just goes and dumps like all these people in rivers, like da da da, like it's a routine. He gets so good at it, becomes like blasé.
Yeah,
it's funny. I just found that funny. This one's also kind of a dark comedy, a Netflix film, extremely wicked and shockingly vile.
You know, I forgot about this movie, even though it's kind of recent.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that stuck out to me is Zac Efron.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, as someone who saw it, how did he do?
As Ted Bundy, he looks like Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
They were kind of trying to play. It was a really weird perspective because they were doing it. They were doing it from his perspective as somebody who was just trying to hide it from his family and like just constantly denying it and kind of showing the progression of events from how outside people would view it. Like, oh, like we can't believe he did it. Like, and just playing it up like, oh, it's kind of funny that he keeps getting away with it. And they kind of played it off like that. which was an interesting choice. But they didn't really give us a lot of insight into the character and his issues and his motivations. And obviously, it's a really darkly real thing that happened.
Yeah.
So it was a very strange choice to play it off kind of like a comedy, sort of a dark comedy. And it was interesting because it was these ridiculous things happened that he was able to avoid justice because of loopholes and because of his charisma. But you only ever saw it from that perspective. You never saw it from the other side of how ugly it really was. So it always felt like we're just seeing one part of the story.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I thought it was interesting, but I thought it could have been better, basically. He played that aspect of the character pretty well, I think.
Okay. It's weird seeing Zac Efron play Ted Bundy.
I thought he did okay.
Wow. Okay. Somebody's growing up from their Disney days.
You grow up from Disney and become Ted Bundy. Is that the natural progression? I hope not. Well, I think we're going to start getting to some more stuff you've seen.
Yes.
You could talk a little bit about Joker if you want.
Yeah.
And since I've been talking for a while, how did you feel about Joker?
Joker was great. You said one of the best of the year that I've seen. This was probably in there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Very ambitious, I would say, to take a character that's been done a lot. And this take on the character, the tone of the movie, especially within the climate of DC movies, which we've talked about numerous times here. So, you know, how that goes. And it just exceeded expectations, honestly. Everything, like, the way it looked, even the way they shot it, like the title sequences that looks like an old 70s movie. The title sequence that looks like a 70s movie. The performances, the direction in general, that make you kind of want to go back and because, you know, with them introducing the aspect of is it in his head or not, just that alone makes you want to go back, because once that happens, if I think that, pretty sure somebody else thinks that, so then I start scouring YouTube for the film theory videos, and they bring up a lot of good points. They bring up a lot of, like, there's even thoughts of the random scene when he goes into the freezer or refrigerator, that from then on, it could be a dream. Like, he could have died in that refrigerator. Now it's been months since I've seen it, so
same
to pinpoint if that could be real or not, but it could make you watch it again. So I'm a fan. I say that's probably one of my favorites this year.
It didn't quite make it up there for me because I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. Like, I had to mull it over. Like, I came away. I guess I agree with you. It was kind of ambitious, and it was a different take on the Joker, trying to kind of make it more believable and realistic. Yeah, which I appreciated. But I guess there's kind of the old comic book fan of me that's just like, you know, I wanted to go into a Joker movie and have fun, have a good time, kind of, in a weird way. Which I guess with the Joker being as dark as he is might have been difficult. But I don't know. I guess I just always thought that a comic book movie like that should be kind of fun. And Joker was just kind of unpleasant thematically on purpose.
Yeah, that's the only reason, because I knew that going in. Like, the tone of it, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be like Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, any of those. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that was one thing I thought might have been missing. But it was still a well-done film. Right. It didn't make me feel too good watching it. So I was like, I don't know if I really want to go back and watch it again anytime soon. But I did appreciate the fresh interpretation of the character. I thought it was well shot, well edited, well acted, and everything.
Joaquin did great.
Joaquin did do a very good job.
He did great. I like that. I don't know if this was the director's idea or Joaquin's himself idea with the thing about his laugh. That was great.
That was good.
That's like a fresh idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, and it ties into the mental health thing that they were going for with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where you could see the difference in the movie when he's laughing genuinely, like when something's funny,
mm-hmm.
or if it's his condition kicking in.
True.
Like, and it looks painful, like to that point. And he said he.
I have a condition.
That's what he was going for, Joaquin, in interviews. He wanted it to look like this is not. It's against my will. Like I'm trying to stop. This is actually hurting me. And it came across. It came across on screen.
But no, I think in terms of making the Joker character sympathetic, I think no other interpretation has maybe done it quite so well.
Right.
Except for maybe the original Killing Joke. I still liked that, but this was heavily inspired by that. Yeah, so, big time. So, yeah, the tragedy was definitely there. I guess it was just also weird to think of, that's why I didn't like it. But because it was trying to be super real and it was doing a fresh take in this world. If the Joker actually existed in the real world, the Waynes would probably not be good people. They might be the result of like issues in the city and might have been partially responsible for creating situations for
1%.
Elite 1%. And I'm like, that definitely works with the climate. Which, like I said, is fine if you're using the character as a vehicle for commentary. That's art, definitely. Mm-hmm. But as a comic book fan, I'm like, you're just saying that like the Wayans are evil, and it's like so that's some of my bias coming in. It's like not making me feel good about the core of the mythos, you know. But you know what? It's a legitimate possibility. Maybe the Wayans weren't that great. It's Bruce's perspective.
Man, hey, that's true.
You know. He's clearly got issues.
We're coming in from his perspective, and he's a kid when he loses his parents. So, of course,
his memory of them is going to be
the best people in the world. And when dad was a hero,
but he didn't know. He never got to the point where he could see them as an adult, and they're not perfect. So, in his mind, they're the perfect people when you're 8. But you know, wow. See, the film is more brilliant than I consider.
See, look at you.
Like I said, I'm still thinking about Joker. I'm gonna have to watch it again at some point.
But I also interpret. I think that it was clearly trying to. It made choices to, which is why there's rumors of a second one. I hope they don't do it.
No. I hope this is a standalone thing. It works so much better if it was.
Yeah, because they made clear choices that this wouldn't be any type of, because first of all, the age of Joker.
The age, yeah.
And Bruce is like 12, and he's in his, I would say, late 30s, early 40s.
Joaquin's like in his 40s, so I'm like,
so
geriatric Joker.
There's no way.
It's worse than Gotham.
So, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Don't get me started. But that's stuff like that. I think they try to make choices to let you know, like, look, this is just a standalone. This is a new interpretation of what it is.
And that's the thing. And I think a lot of people, maybe more casual fans online and just people that are big comic book fans, they try to get the theories and connect to franchises. I think it's you got to remember that this was a specific way for, I guess, what they might do with these DC films. Director uses these characters to just tell a story his own way through them.
Right.
So it is an isolated thing, which is cool.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be connected to Batman. It could just be, this is a version of the Joker. And that's my issue, is letting go of the traditional interpretations.
That could be a way DC sets itself apart in terms of their movies. If they can keep doing this, make these standalone stories that are great.
Just be their own thing.
And because they do that in the animated movies.
So usually they're more isolated stories.
Pretty much, yeah. If they can do that, then that would set them apart from Marvel.
Which is one connected thing.
Exactly.
It's a contrast.
I think because of Marvel, we've gotten so used to everything being connected and being part of one universe.
But remember, before Marvel was a success, movies didn't always have to be connected.
Exactly.
You could go and say, "Oh, this is a piece of work that I can go back and think about," and it could be its own thing.
Even some things that were sequels sometimes were totally different movies.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Could have been a separate thing.
Yeah.
Really.
So I think we've been marvelized. Make it up on the spot. Marvelized when we watch, especially comic book based movies, that everything has to be a part of a universe or Easter egg to something else. But sometimes
it's kind of exhausting. Sometimes
it is. I can imagine that. It's crazy. Now, not to say that they can't do extended universe, but to have something different, like I think they were rumors that's like DC Black Label is what they're calling it, because it's a darker take. It's a rated R movie. And, traditionally superhero movies are PG-13.
Ooh, let's do more R-rated DC stuff. That's their market.
That's their market. Like, we can do darker,
gritty
takes, gritty. It can end. This is just me spitballing for the future.
Take note, guys.
There's also rumors of them once again rebooting the DCEU.
Oh no!
This could be a way for them to do that.
Do it that way.
Do it because you want to be your dark, gritty DC self. Just do it over here.
Just say, I'm doing it this way. And then, so you think they should do one that's a little more fun and light. And then
for
also
your DCEU.
For your DCEU.
That's your fun and light. Everything connects, superhero fanfare.
And do the artsy experimental stuff over here.
Over here in the Black Label, so to speak, if that's what they're going to call it.
I like that. And guess what? Marvel, because they're Disney owned, they'd be a little worried about taking a risk on doing a bunch of R-rated weird things.
Exactly. Which is why people are scared about about to say Daredevil, Deadpool, because he's in Disney.
And
he's been rated R.
Although the Netflix Marvel shows were a little more that direction, they still weren't to that level of Joker. They weren't to that level.
Right. So, if anyone happens to know anyone
in Hollywood or something,
please get that to DC.
That's a great idea.
It's a good way for you to, you can service both of your fan base because there are some people who like the contrast of the dark, gritty DC movies.
Yeah.
The Nolan-verse, if you will.
Kinda.
They like that style. They don't really work for everyone in the DC comic book. But Batman.
As my friends and I have often, Joe trolled off to say, like, well, not every character is Batman,
right?
Like, and Batman is the most popular character. He's dark and gritty, more realistic, so to speak. But pretty much every other character in DC that's big is a colorful, traditional, old school knight in shining armor. Like, that's what they are. Let them be that. Let them be fun. The shows get it right more. You know? Just like Flash. So
So that would be a way for them to do that.
That's a good idea. Yep. And think, if they do some films that don't work well, another one could be good. New director, new take, new character. Sure.
And then who knows if it's maybe if it's not too gritty and that they do a standalone and it works well. Mm-hmm. Maybe they might throw an Easter egg of that character being in the DCU at some point or something.
Sure.
If they take they could do even obscure, like The Question. They could do a Question movie.
Oh, Question would be perfect for
that. Would be crazy.
Because his comics are all about murder, mystery. His stuff's really dark.
You know what I mean? They can do this stuff.
Do you think they should get Jeffrey Combs to play him or to voice him? Or should they just go for a younger guy? Would he be too old for it? Because Jeffrey Combs has that iconic voice.
He does.
You forget to ask the question.
I think they could at least get him to voice it, and they could have because you don't
a stunt
see
guy.
The question's face.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, please make this happen, please. Jeffrey Combs would be so happy. I bet that he does a lot of voice work.
Yeah.
Just get a younger guy fit to do it, and he could just do the voice. That would be gold.
I mean, I'm saying Warner Brothers. If you want to hire us, I'm saying
we're producers. Come on, we can do this. We can help. Please, we're here. We got all the ideas. I'm sure no one's thought of this before. But seriously, though, somebody called Jeffrey Combs. I can't believe he wouldn't do it. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It'd be like his biggest thing since Reanimator, probably.
And then, so think of that. Like, they could Question movie in the Black Label, so to speak.
That'd be so cool.
And then you see Easter eggs of him in the DCEU.
Ooh.
So then, therefore, they can then bring it into the universe, but not. Because if you just Easter egg him in the DCU, maybe he'll show up, maybe he won't, maybe they'll mention him, maybe he won't.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in it, but not really.
So you can be flexible.
Yeah. More leeway.
Random question, and this is Okay. So Joker got us on our first tangent.
Yeah, right.
But let me ask you.
It always happens when we go Marvel DC.
Well, I feel like that's when you're on. That's usually the staple. We just can't. Even though you were like at the beginning, we've talked about this enough. We're doing it again.
Well, we do.
Because it hasn't been fixed yet.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, see, you watched the Justice League show, right? The cartoon, classic, but great show. One of the best. Do that. Literally do that. That's what we say. Do that.
Absolutely.
Just copy that, please. It's the easiest thing. Anyway, Martian Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he is popular enough of a character that DC will ever get him to be in his own movie? And if so, do you think he'd be more appropriate for a Black Label or for more traditional?
I think, honestly...
Because I want him to get a movie. I really do.
With him being in the Justice League, and he is one of the more prominent figures, I think he is popular enough. Mm-hmm. I think he could have the capacity to do both.
Ooh.
Like maybe his origin story is a little dark.
It is.
And you go there, you go Black Label, and then do the sprinkle mentioning him, Easter egg him, and then if he gets to a point,
popular
I'm thinking
years.
Yeah, gets to a point where he's in there in a movie regularly. This is when he's at his Justice League level of good guy, just from Mars,
and you can just have him in the Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know what? That would be perfect though for him to start off there, because you know what he did primarily in his comics. He was a detective, murder mysteries and stuff.
Exactly.
That's what he did. So you can have like the origin, the fire, the white Martians, all this crazy stuff. He's alone on Earth. Starts off finding somebody that needs help, takes on an identity, becomes a cop in disguise.
Yep.
Then you got different actors with shape shifting. You could have voiceover if you want to do CGI. Like, it's just, I feel like he'd be a really fun character to just play with.
That's a good point.
Like he's literally very malleable. Yeah, and think about all like the powers he has. He can transform into different creatures. He can phase through. I mean, it's just He's got the psychic stuff.
Yeah.
And the fire thing is a cool fear, weakness thing. I mean, there's plenty to do with he's just a really underutilized character.
Like, imagine that. Imagine if, and then if we were to get to a point where they could just take the one-off events in comics and make live action movies. Like, we get to a point where we can get a Tower of Babel movie.
Oh.
That would be crazy.
Well, we did have an animated one, kind of.
That was good.
But it wasn't quite as good.
It wasn't. They
changed
the
some
little
things.
thing. Yeah, but imagine that if we could get a Black Label Tower of Babel movie.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite comics.
It's awesome.
Oh, that's a good one. That just proves you don't mess with Batman. Is what it pretty much proves.
That he has contingencies, so to speak,
the
movie
was pretty good though. Like the first strategy was you take out Batman, you lock him away, use everybody's weaknesses. He comes out, he's been out for like a couple hours, and everything's gone to shit. Yep. It's like just calling everybody. Calls Martian Manhunter, John, what's going on? I'm still on fire. Like what? What is happening? Oh man. He's like, who? Justice League's under attack. From who? Me. But to do that live action Black Label, so you think Black Label for that, not main universe? Like this will be the dark standalone Tower of Babel version.
That's what I'm thinking.
So you think we'll get to the point where you could say, we'll have multiple people could get comfortable enough, you think maybe, to have multiple storylines of different films of Justice League, like a main universe one. You don't think people get confused?
I think the layman, so to speak,
would be like, what?
They would get confused, honestly.
Yeah.
But the masses, I think if it gets to a point where if Black Label gets established enough, then if they say it, like, this is a Black Label, this is a DC Black Label movie.
DC Black Label Tower of Babel.
Yeah. Then they should know. Different intro, like a little darker intro, what have you.
Like, it's one of those movies.
Justice League dark live action movie. Stuff like that. Like, they can do this.
That's a cool idea. I hope they do that.
Swamp Thing movie. Like, they have a lot of dark characters.
Etrigan.
Dead Man. Constantine, they've been trying to revitalize Constantine for years.
Oh, get Keanu Reeves back. Heck.
They have enough of the dark characters to do this.
And they're just afraid to connect it to like
Yeah, and they could do that too, like the dark characters that you may not want to put in the DCU.
Well, put them in this movie.
Yeah, but it's all trial and error, honestly.
Sure, I mean, of course, they're not always going to be good, so it's like,
right. That's the thing too. When we say these things, we're imagining that
they're all great.
Yeah, it's the idea that they are the best movie to come out.
It could be like a dark universe situation where, like,
great idea,
but it's just not quite the quality level.
That is the thing, because that becomes a disappointment, because the idea is they're revitalizing like the original universe, so to speak, of those monsters.
Yeah, that's
the dark
cool.
universe, literally.
The Universal Monsters.
Yeah, but it just wasn't executed well.
Are they still working on it? Is it still a thing?
The last I heard, the Mummy did so bad that, but who knows? You know how that goes. Give it a couple years, they might.
You know what? I liked Dracula Untold, actually. I was okay with it.
You did tell me that.
I was okay with it. When I heard that was connected, I was interested. So I thought it was weird they rebooted it again. And then The Mummy, I heard a lot of people didn't like it, but my buddy Dan actually said that it was fine. So I don't know. It could have been fun. I don't know. I think that they need to stop making them really epic and just do connected horror movies.
Yeah, that would be. I think that's another. They've been marvelized.
Like it doesn't have to be a big action thing.
Everything that's a universe, quote unquote, movie has to be. And Fast and Furious could be blamed for this too, because it's in the universe. It has to be big. It has to be an epic, and it has to connect.
But like, what if it was just you got the Dracula story, which was kind of epic, but like the Mummy, it could have been the same cast and everything, but it's a more low beat, really creepy, gore effects heavy mummy movie.
Yeah.
That's just more intimate, more close quarters. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like a big action. That's what many of them more effects look cheesy, and it's like focus on the atmosphere, focus on the character. That might be really cool.
Like, as we have seen, call back to Shyamalan, that was probably like the most understated reveal of a universe
ever.
Yeah,
it was subtle.
So subtle, and that's what made it so great.
In all honesty, I since I didn't like Glass that much, if that had just been the reveal at the end, what could have been a nice little Easter egg. Like, by the way, this universe is still going.
Yeah.
And even if Glass hadn't been made, I think that would have been a cool thing to leave it off of. Like, oh, he's still out there fighting crime or whatever.
Right.
It didn't end up being that way,
right.
But that moment was really cool. I was so happy in the theater, man. I was like, oh, it's unbreakable. I was like, oh, that music. I was so happy. I was so happy.
Mine was blown.
And then Glass made me mad. So I guess that it has to balance out.
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
moving on
to the next movie. Oh, actually, this will be funny. Okay. I don't know if I reviewed this one for the channel or not. I don't think I did. But I saw Rambo, Last Blood, I think it was called. I liked it. It was fine. It was a Rambo movie. I'll tell you the plot because it's not very spoiler heavy. Just he's retired. Rambo's just out on the farm. He's not doing anything.
He's not in the jungle anymore.
No, he's in the desert. He's like out by he's out by Mexico, I think, down Arizona or California somewhere, and he's just living his life, being Rambo in peace, and he's got a family. I don't know if it was clearly established if his wife or his sister or whatever, but he's got a niece, and the niece goes off and tries to see her father, who's in Mexico, and gets kind of tricked by a person out there, and ends up getting abducted and sold into slavery by the cartels and beaten up. And I'm going to spoil something for you.
So it's taken Rambo style.
Yes, except spoilers. I actually do want to spoil this one.
Okay.
Do you mind?
No, that's fine.
His niece dies.
Oh.
She dies. And
he didn't save her.
He did not save her. And people do die in Rambo movies. Like in Rambo 2, his one girlfriend died.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But so tragedy happens to Rambo. And I would have not thought that, like, I was thinking I saw Rambo, it's going to be a dumb action movie, whatever. But they do carry the themes pretty well. And I will say her death scene is one of the saddest things I saw all year. Because he's all talking about, like, oh, you've got so much, beauty and hope, and like you're like my hope for the future, and you're too young to you're gonna die before your life's beginning. You know what I mean? It's just,
is that why it pushed it up? That's what pushed it up further on your list
for me, because like he's driving her, trying to get her to the hospital. She's been beaten up and raped and everything. Yeah, brutal. Yes, it was. They went there, and it seemed like it's a real thing that happens.
Yeah,
these girls are getting abducted. It unfortunately, so it felt very real, and so like he's driving up there, and he's thinking it's almost to the. I'm getting a little teary now. He's getting to the to get her somewhere safe, and she dies on the way to the, and I'm just like, it was really sad, man, and Stallone sold it.
Oh, that's good.
He sold that scene, and then of course the rest of the movie as well. I'm just gonna go and kill all these people now. So
Oh yeah, because now you messed up.
So okay, did it really get any great resolution after that for development for anybody? Not really, but it's just like Rambo's like, all right, I gotta do my thing. I gotta get revenge.
Putting the red bandana back on.
And it gets the bows out, and of course they all just they die. There's some. I didn't see the fourth one, but the deaths in this are so gory, and these people get
pretty gory deaths.
So it wasn't like technically very good movie. It's pretty by the beats, but the dramatic elements with that character and what happens to her and how he feels about it, like as an impetus for that was.
So this is pretty early in the movie still.
Yeah, I'd say
that's like his motivation to go and
well, that's the thing.
Decimate everything.
I thought that's the thing. They fooled me. I thought, oh, he's got to have to save her. It's taken. Yeah. It's taken. But Rambo, I thought the same thing. But then I think in the middle of Act 2 or towards the end of Act 2, she dies. And then you're like, you think he saved her, and he didn't. And then he's, it's just like hinting at some of the issues he's had before, and it's just like, it's like, you don't want to. Oh man, it's just, it wasn't bad. It was not bad. I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a Rambo movie, and they're kind of just, the way I look at Rambo is they are kind of generally, they kind of became more dumb action movies, but they've always had some strong undercurrents to them. Mm-hmm. Like the first movie is a legitimately very good movie. It's like a tragedy.
Yeah.
Like it's a tragedy. So they kind of carried some of those themes, and the ending is sort of open to interpretation.
So like there may be another one.
It's shot almost like either he could be dead, he might not be dead.
Oh, okay, one of those.
So which I hope I sold it for you a little bit, because I bet that kind of makes you mad too, if they leave it open ended for a possible sequel to that movie. Because I know you got feelings about this even though you didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that twist that you said about the niece dying, because like you said, now it's not so much beat for beat like Taken.
No.
And I didn't see 4. I'll probably watch 4. That's another reason why I haven't seen some of these movies. I have this thing. I don't know if it's OCD or just something.
Mm-hmm.
I have
completionist.
Yeah, like I have to complete it. However, I have this thing where I want to see. So especially if it's older, I want to see the older ones again to refresh.
Of course.
Before I see the new ones.
I'm similar.
So, and then I don't get around to fully refreshing before the new one comes out. That's where I get stuck.
So you feel like you've got to watch all the Rambos to get in the mode and understand what's going on. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I can tell you probably don't have to see them all to get the gist.
Because I've seen honestly, I can't remember the third one either. I know I didn't see the fourth one.
The third one's when his captain gets kidnapped in Afghanistan. He has to go rescue him.
Yeah. Okay, so I saw the first 3. Okay. I know I didn't see the fourth one. That's the one that's super gory.
I heard that was really gory, but that's all I heard about it. Yeah. It's like Rambo 2, but more extreme.
Right. So yeah, I mean, well, I'll give it a watch.
You're gonna let your anger over Creed 2 kind of wane a little for that?
I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, but I thought those scenes were pretty well done. It was sad, man. It was really sad. It was like I was tearing up at a Rambo movie. I did not expect that. Wow. That scene was really sad, man. Wow. Captain Marvel. Did we talk about Captain Marvel? Like,
I think we did.
At work or something?
I think we did.
It feels like it's a while ago now.
Yeah.
I like Captain Marvel.
Had to be. Wasn't it the beginning of this year?
Like March or something?
Had to be. But it was good. I liked it.
Nick Fury, right?
Yeah. I kind of saw that coming. Jude Law being the bad guy. Kind of saw that.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Jude Law being the villain. I like that. I like that they kind of did a nod to her different suits.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. How she got her powers, that looked cool.
That looked cool.
Even when she used her powers, it looked cool.
Did you like what they did with the Skrulls?
That's probably the only thing I don't like. For the most part. I mean, I get the overall thing, even though the comics make it seem like all Skrulls are bad. Yeah. But I get...
Maybe they're not
make
all
it more,
evil.
Yeah, make it more relatable. Like, maybe not all of them are evil.
True.
The only thing is Talos. Number one...
Evilest.
Yeah. Number two, he can't shapeshift. And he shapeshifts in the movie. So, and not just that movie, but we'll get to that a little later.
That's true. We will.
An Easter egg.
There is an Easter egg for later in the podcast. Listen back.
That's probably my biggest things is because they even if I don't know, because they could still make it that Talos is actually good and
sure.
Super Skrull, the really evil one.
Well, Fantastic Four will be a thing, so maybe they're saving Super Skrull for that. That'd be cool.
That's the only thing I'm thinking. But okay, now he's also not evil and he also can't shapeshift. I mean, you're totally changing it.
You're really upset about Talos.
One or the other. Like,
get one or the other.
I mean, but I guess they needed a face for the Skrull, so quote unquote. And he is, other than that, I mean, what besides him is Super Skrull?
I will confess I'm not the most hardcore Fantastic Four fan, so I don't know any of the Skrulls.
And me, honestly, me neither. Those are the only two I know by name, by recognizing them. Other than that, I just know they're a race of shape-shifting aliens.
They're usually evil.
Who are evil and they want to take over planets and they secretly inhabit them and then take over.
Classic alien plan.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it was different. Like you were saying about Joker. Sometimes when it's different from what you think from the comic mythos, it kind of is like, But it wasn't enough to be like, oh, it ruined it for me.
No.
So all in all, I liked it.
I enjoyed it too. I thought it was fun. I really liked her costume. I thought it looked great. I know people were giving Brie Larson a lot of crap around that.
I think she did bad.
I thought she did good. I like Brie Larson. She's a great actress.
Yeah.
And she was playing just kind of a snarky character, the same as everybody else in Marvel.
I don't understand. Did they have someone else in mind?
It's sexism is what it is. I'm just going to put it's what it is.
Did they have someone else in mind?
I thought she looked great. She's fine. I mean, like, people... I did not get all the stupid hate. I was like, she's fine. I mean, I guess it was stuff she was saying, but like, I hate when that happens. Like, I mean,
the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I thought it was I don't think it was like one of the best Marvel movies, but I thought it was solid. It was good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. It was colorful. I'd watch it again.
I would. Yeah. I would.
I know you didn't see this next one. Maybe we'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I won't go into it too much because I did review it for the channel, but. All right, what questions do you have for me about Rise of Skywalker? If any.
Some of the ones I asked, you answered like, you said it did not complete the trilogy well, in your opinion.
No, because you can really tell when you're watching it that clearly JJ's just throwing a lot of stuff in to try and course correct and say all this stuff that happened last movie, we're not going to expand on it. We're just going to say, no, it didn't happen, or no, actually, this is what it meant. So it's like, it feels more like a sequel to the first movie, and you could almost skip the second movie.
And I don't understand. If J.J. Abrams was at the helm of this, how did another director do the second movie?
That's one of those things we'll probably never know because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but it does seem really weird that Disney, which, obviously, The thing that's cool about Disney with Marvel and a lot of their properties is like, we'll give you the money. We probably have some creative influence, but we're going to let the people that know the material do their thing.
Yeah.
Like, they let all the writers from the Marvel comics are like working on these movies.
Yeah.
So they're obviously like, if you know that. But with Star Wars, it's been weird. It's like, okay, JJ, he did well with the Star Trek movies, getting them popular again.
Yeah.
And Star Wars he loves even more, apparently. So you'd think just give him the whole creative thing, but now we're gonna try and different directors do different movies like the original trilogy did, and have a different director kind of follow general guidelines and just have his own interpretation. But somehow he had so much free reign that no producer from Disney was like, I don't think that makes any sense. People aren't gonna like. We're gonna lose money. Fans are like, nobody interfered. Was he just isolated like where he was filming and nobody at Disney checked up on?
Nobody reviewed this. They had to pre-screen it.
There are all you know how it is. The committee is always like, okay, test audiences. They test these things.
Yeah.
So it's really weird that happened at Disney.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but even in the old trilogies,
yeah,
George Lucas still had some say so, didn't he?
Well, granted,
because it was his. They were at that time still under his production company, right?
When you say the old ones, what do you mean?
Like the prequel.
Yeah, like that was still when he owned it.
That was still him.
That's a whole different mess. But George Lucas, he was all about creative. He had complete creative control over that. It wasn't owned by.
Of course, in the second trilogy, but
the OG one.
Yeah, of course he was in that.
He was, but that one he had a general. See, he had a general vision. Like I think I don't know if he basically the first Star Wars movie ever made was very much George Lucas's baby. After that, different writers, different directors. He was the idea guy, and then
that's what I'm saying. He had a hand in it.
He always had a hand in it, but this one it's like JJ was supposed to be the new Lucas. Like
I did a hand, but
first
he didn't
movie,
have a hand in the second.
Do your own thing, but check with me on some things, But it seems like are they just lying and saying? Did JJ say, "I'll do whatever you want," and then just blew up? And they're like, "Oh no, I didn't say it." Like
that could be it too. That could be it too.
It's weird,
Because a lot of times, if there's a situation where there's a trilogy or a sequel, what have you, and the director, for whatever reason, can't do the second movie, third movie, they usually either have that person as a producer, so to speak, and they're checking in.
Or they write the script or something.
Or it's somebody who's really close to that person, and they kind of get their vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were talking about with Creed and Creed 2.
Yeah.
Because...
different director, right?
Yes. I'm blanking on both of their names. Wow, that sucks.
Well, reference Creed and Creed 2, but...
yeah. The original director couldn't do
Creed 2.
If I'm not mistaken, he was still filming Black Panther at that time.
Oh, well, that's a priority. Yeah.
Ryan Coogler. That's
Coogler, yeah.
He couldn't do Creed 2, but, and I still can't remember his name, the director who did Creed 2 is a friend of his.
Uh-huh.
So he was able to, and you could kind of see there's a slight change in vision a little bit, but for the most part, it's the same feel.
Okay.
So it didn't, to me, back to Star Wars, going from 1 and 2, there were some things like
dramatic shift in tone and everything.
Yeah, like the build-up of Snoke, first of all.
Oh, that was my biggest thing.
The build-up of Snoke in the first one.
I liked it.
Like, this is the new...
big bad.
New big bad.
Dude.
This is like Palpatine.
Times whatever.
Yeah, like... And bloop. Bloop, he's that easy to kill. Bloop.
That was stupid.
I remember sitting in the theater like...
Is that a mistake?
He's not dead. That can't be.
Well, they had a shot of him being dead. I thought, okay, so maybe when you do a shot like that in a movie, it's like to say, remember this. Look at the body. Like, is there something going on with this? But no.
That was it. He's just going. I'm like, what is going on?
I thought he was going to regenerate or something.
Something. Or that wasn't him. That was a double. Like, he could clone himself. He's Palpatine. He could clone himself. No. So it was some, and that was just one of the things.
So you didn't like Last Jedi that much? Is that what it sounds like?
Not compared to the
Force Awakens.
First one, Force Awakens. No, it wasn't terrible, but in
it was
comparison
though,
to
right?
yes, very frustrating. As a movie, it's not terrible.
No,
but
it's like as a connected to it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's like two different stories.
Exactly.
That's the problem. It's like as a film, I thought there were some beautiful ideas, but that's not what you said in the last movie.
Yeah.
It's contradicting ideas and themes from Star Wars.
It's like they're totally, and like you said, everything they set up.
It's like a Black Label alternate universe for Star Wars. Like, like screw the Force, screw your ideas.
The whole will they won't they with Finn and Rey. Screw that. We're just gonna add a new girl in here.
You're gonna love that.
And we're gonna add a casino heist side plot.
Everybody's favorite part.
With this new girl out of nowhere, and yeah, there that is.
I know we're just ranting about Last Jedi now, but I just wish that if Finn was going to have a great character moment, sacrifice himself for the Resistance, he gets saved by Rose, kind of ruining his moment, and then she doesn't die.
Right.
For him. So I'm like, there was no dramatic, weight to that, really. It's just
yeah.
But anyway...
so yeah, back to Rise of Skywalker. You saw it, so...
it feels like... I had a fun time watching it. But I wasn't taking it seriously, for the most part. If you look at it as a sequel to Force Awakens, and kind of just gloss over the Last Jedi stuff, it's like, oh, it's fine, I guess. But it feels like everything was... Some of it, the whole movie feels like fan fiction, like a bunch of 10-year-olds put together their dream ideas, and there's a part of me that loves that. I could have thought of this in one of my fake movies when I was a kid, but that doesn't mean that it should all be in this thing. And we'll try to flesh out characters by introducing new elements for them, but you feel like you're just rushing to do all the stuff that should have been established in a whole nother movie. So the movie feels like it's two movies, and some of the movies are part of the movie are kind of silly. Right. Have you heard any spoilers about it? Have you tried to avoid them?
I haven't heard. No.
Good. Well, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I won't spoil it for you, but there's a certain character that's reintroduced, sort of. And I'm glad that character's back, because they're one of my favorite characters.
Okay.
But it's stupid.
And
I love it. There's a part of me that loves it. I'm fine with it. Okay, sure. But because of everything in the trilogy, it's like we were saying, it doesn't really work. It just seems like you're doing this last minute to try and make it make sense, but now it's just, how with Last Jedi everybody hated it because it was completely different departure, and some people complained Force Awakens was just kind of trying to really be like the old movies and be like New Hope again, basically.
Yeah.
So you can't please anybody.
Right.
This one feels more like the Force Awakens, except it's really dialing in on that completely. We're giving you everything you expect, and almost being too safe to compensate.
So, do they ever get significant? Do we get significance on who Rey is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you know what? It's not the dumbest thing.
Okay, because I was going to say, was it worth waiting 3 movies? Because they really didn't talk about that in the second one. That made me mad too. With the, I know who you are.
You're nobody.
You're nobody. What?
Well, you could say thematically that was a good thing. Do you have to be related to somebody to be your own great person? But it's Star Wars, so no. I want her to be somebody.
Because you've built a mythos that if you're great, your lineage is great. Unless you're Anakin, but...
Well, he was the beginning of it,
he was
yeah. But exactly.
Or a Solo, so to speak.
This is the thing. Last Jedi, experimental idea. Okay, let's be different. But no, this is Star Wars. We want some things we expect. Who is she related to? Yes.
Okay.
And you know what? It wasn't. It was a fan theory that thematically, I was okay with.
Okay.
And it was interesting, and it kind of parallels what they've done with other characters in previous films and their lineage. So, yes, and actually, the last scene of the movie I love.
Okay.
The last scene works. Though, it might have worked better if that character said something else, but yes, you get clarification on that. Whether or not you like it or not, I don't know, but I was okay with it.
And...
It's a good twist.
Kylo Ren.
I hate him. I'm not a Kylo Ren fan.
The whole...
Some people are.
Trilogy, there's this whole...
Arc.
He was good, went to the dark side, but he's in the dark side, but still there's the light pulling him. Do we get a definitive stance on him?
Well, it's the third movie, so I'd hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe I've been too hard on Kylo Ren because my issue with Kylo Ren is...
Which is interesting because I like Adam Driver. He's a good actor.
He's a good actor. Well, let me ask you first. How do you feel about Kylo Ren in these movies? The character.
Well...
that face is like...
Because I don't... Like, I get him. You
get what he's about.
The theory of him, like... his lineage. You know, because some people either you rise or you crumble under the lineage of greatness. Your mother's Leia, your dad is Han Solo.
You're like, yeah.
So everybody's looking at you like, oh,
you're the next big thing.
Next one. And
the pressure.
No, I don't want this. Get the hell out of here.
I'm going to destroy everything.
You know what? I'm going to the dark side. I get that. I just don't, as a Han Solo fan, I don't like that you killed your father.
You don't like that, but he knew what he had to do, man. He just didn't have the strength.
Had to kill your father.
But what a good scene, though.
I like that scene, though. I don't like it, but I like I like thematically of it, how it looks visually too. Because if you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but I did. We'll get to that later. Why I like Once Upon a Time Hollywood. The way it's shot when he's talking to Han. If you look at his face, half of his blue, half of his red.
Oh, I love that stuff.
It's great.
I love that stuff.
It's literally like half and half.
See, I like Force Awakens. I actually do.
And he's fighting
his
you
internal.
You can see his face, like he's fighting. Oh, yeah. There's part of him that's good, and he wants to, but then he feels a pull because he knows Vader is his grandfather. So it's like, do I betray my father or my grandfather?
You know, for as upset as I've been about this movies, you're making me want to watch Force Awakens.
See, you know what I'm saying? Do I betray my father or my grandfather? Where do I go?
It's classic stuff.
You know, so I get that, but as a Han Solo fan,
personally,
I didn't like it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and it's your father.
But
you could have just knocked him out or something.
But that's a good sign of good storytelling when you kill a character you like to make it twist, but it has a purpose for the story. It's like that hit. That's good drama.
That's
true. That's so. I know what you mean. You like it, but you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
No, they killed Han Solo, but it was so good when he killed Han Solo.
I get it.
So Han Solo is your favorite character?
At least it wasn't unnecessary. I would say
because he's the guy that's like, hey, I'm here. I'm the everyman. You can relate.
Pretty
to
much.
I don't believe in your stuff. Oh crap. I guess I do.
Like I may not have the Force or anything, but I'm in the mix with everybody. Everybody around these parts, they know me. You know, I'm one of those guys, and I don't have to have the Force. You know.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. All right. I'll give you my response about Kylo Ren. My big problem with Kylo Ren is this, and it has to relate to Snoke and other characters. Is in Star Wars, you want to have a good, solid, intimidating villain. Yeah. Is Kylo Ren that? And when he takes off that mask, no.
That's true.
That's my problem with him.
Because he wavers. That's the thing. He's wavering.
Because he's not supposed to be that character.
Right.
But he is our default because of Snoke. So we don't have a guy we can just be like, you're the evil guy.
Which is why I was fine with him wavering in Force Awakens, because we had Snoke.
So we can have our guy we can hate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem. And so yeah, as him being conflicted, I get it. I get the character, but he is the default villain because we have nothing else. And so I'm like, well, I don't find you that intimidating, man. You're the sad guy. You know, I mean, you know what I mean?
You're just emotional.
And that's fine. And that's what I'm saying. I get it. I just don't like his placement in the trilogy. However, one of the things I think works best about the movie, The Rise of Skywalker, is I think they do wrap up his arc well. Okay. And they actually make him, of all the characters, he has the most solid one. And you'll get to see that. And because, I won't say anything except this, but you had a lot of passion for that particular scene. You're gonna really, really like some other scene in Rise of Skywalker. Okay. You're gonna really like a certain scene. Absolutely. Guaranteed. Might even be your favorite scene because I can't say anything. Any vague hint will spoil it. So, but you will really appreciate a certain scene they do. So that's good. Did I answer your question? I think I did. I don't remember.
I think you did.
So there are things about Rise of Skywalker I like, but as a movie, it's a mess. And as part of a trilogy, the whole trilogy is a mess. But there's good elements to it. There's serious dramatic stuff I think work. There's great visuals. The acting's good, chemistry's good. They're trying to give characters things to do, but a lot of it's rushed.
Because we know we're wrapping the Skywalker saga up,
and it feels like it contradicts other things, and there's literally parts where they sort of take jabs at the last movie, and you know what I mean. You'll feel like it's under rushed, and some things are just kind of basic movie dumb, like Star Wars. Like I can't spoil it, but like there's some things that happen like wow we're just doing this again, because we expect it from Star Wars. So some things were good, some things weren't, but it's like it was a very mixed bag for me. Like it was fun, but it clearly had lots of problems. Like if you really look at it at all.
So I saw a photo. So two things. There's C-3PO.
Oh, I forgot. C-3PO has a lot to do with this movie. He's great.
Okay.
C-3PO is great. If you like C-3PO, he gets some really good moments.
Does he get his gold arm back?
I forget.
Because I thought I saw a photo, like, they're in the desert again.
He has the silver arm.
It's like red or silver or something. They never explain why.
I forget
what happened to his arm.
You know what? Wow. There was so much happening in the movie. I did not notice if he had it or not.
Because they never. That's why it stuck out to me because he's a bright, shiny gold.
And he's got another arm that's not his.
Yeah, but they never explain why.
No.
And in the picture, it looked like he had her back to his gold self.
Maybe
so I wondered if they explained that or not.
I don't think so, but if you watch it, keep an eye out and see if they did the thing with the arm. Do you like Lando?
Yeah.
Well, Lando's back. They had that in the trailers, and Lando's cool.
That's cool.
Lando's cool.
Billy D.
Chewie's got a couple good scenes. There's another cute droid for a BB-8.
BB-8's back?
BB-8 is back with R2 and with this new droid called Dio, who's great.
Oh, okay.
There's Poe gets a little more to do. Finn, there's Poe Dameron gets a little more finally to do.
No.
Finally. Finn, you're not going to be happy with this one thing with Finn, for sure. Like, Finn's cool, but he's gotten jerked around. They'll be teasing something the whole movie, and he's getting. There's going to be a thing in the movie they will mention, and they'll never follow it up. And you're going to be pissed about it. I can sense it. Because there's a thing with Finn, and you just mentioned, like, the whole... I can't even say it, but there's a thing, and they mention it, and they never resolve it. Wait, did someone miss that? Where's the scene?
I feel like they squander Finn, too, because just the theory of that, like a former stormtrooper...
Oh, it's a great concept.
Yeah, like...
I break my conditioning and say, I don't want to be a bad guy. Exactly. I don't want to be a stormtrooper. It's a great moment.
Even from the first scene of Force Awakens, and you see him, and just to see a stormtrooper run away and take his helmet off.
Screw this!
It's like you've never seen that ever. They just walk into danger and die because they can't hit anything.
We serve the Empire, but
that is just great.
That and there's people underneath there.
I feel like
that's a cool idea. You're right, man.
That almost could have been something else, like another story.
There's Rise of Skywalkers and little maybe some stuff there.
Okay, because I feel like that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother movie. Yeah. That's a whole nother Disney Plus show, right?
That's
there.
like actually, yeah, because that's like competing things with that and Rey, the story of Rey. It's like two because you have this is cool, Stormtrooper deserts and then he wants to be a good guy, but then you also have this mysterious girl who may be a Skywalker, or we don't know.
You know what? You just made me realize something, and maybe this was intentional or not. Throughout the movies, it's a good theme. Is even with Finn, even though he's not force sensitive, the idea of kind of overcoming your history and your associations. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a stormtrooper, but no, maybe I don't have to be. You know, dark side, light side. It's another form of that.
Right.
That's cool.
That is.
It's a cool thing, but they don't really do a lot with it.
They don't. They could have done so much, but I'm still interested.
Oh, I think you should watch it.
Still
but
interested.
There's good moments, but you'll know what I mean. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. It might be another podcast because, like The Last Jedi, people were talking about for years. People are going to be talking about this for years too.
Yeah, of course.
It's not going to go away.
They still talk about all of the other movies.
Well,
they talk about them individually. They talk about them as trilogies. They talk about them as a whole. Yeah. So it's Star Wars. It's classic, man.
Yeah, man. I even like the Phantom Menace.
You know what? I like the Phantom Menace too. I like Darth Maul.
I love Darth Maul. I like Qui-Gon Jinn. I liked a lot of the stuff with Anakin, and I'm weird. I like the Trade Federation. I like learning about the government and like what was actually happening, to cause the wars to start. Because people were complaining Star Wars isn't about politics, but I watched a video recently. And I was like, did you watch the original movies? It's war. The whole thing's politics.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So I don't know, but actually, Attack of the Clones is probably my least favorite.
Okay.
Probably, but that's because I think that romance was really bad. Dialogue was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even those, I could still enjoy it. But I guess check out Rise of Skywalker. It's a mess, but it's fun. That's what I'll probably say to you. I put it in my middle section. I didn't hate it. I saw Frozen 2. The lady. They couldn't let it go. Let it go. Yeah.
I guess not. They made another one.
But it was good.
Okay. I saw the first one. I was late to the train though because I knew about the memes and everybody singing "Let It Go" before I knew
what the movie was.
Yeah. So,
well, I'll tell you this.
But it was good. I liked the first one.
I don't know if it's quite as good as the first one, but if you watch it, I'll say this: it is the most unsubtle Disney movie in terms of darkness.
Oh, really?
Like they say, this is how it's gonna be, kids. Get used to it.
Really?
Like there's some unsubtle like not even humor or metaphor. It's just like characters literally saying, "Oh yeah, this is life gets tough when you're an adult. Here you go." Like I was like, "Wow, you guys aren't cushioning this at all."
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was like, "Why
they don't
Frozen?"
normally do that.
No,
especially in their animated movies.
Yeah, but if you check out Frozen 2, just the stuff the characters say, I'm like, really, we're saying this? Oh wow, it's good themes, like preparing kids, I guess, but it's just like not subtle,
I have to check it out.
Yeah, Frozen 2, pretty good. Irishman, The Irishman,
also on my list. The only thing that deterred me, the length. It's a beast of a movie.
It's really good,
but I have heard all things good.
It's a Scorsese movie, a lot of sitting down talking, but it is good. I recommend it.
I gotta see Scorsese. You got a Scorsese movie, Pacino, De Niro, Pesci. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Come on. The only way you could not like this if you didn't like
Scorsese movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's made for Scorsese fans.
Yeah.
So favorite Scorsese movie?
Ooh. It's hard to say because I kind of like Casino.
Ooh, I haven't seen Casino in a while.
It's not a popular choice, but
it's fine. It's a good movie though.
It's good.
I've heard some people say that.
But I always get it mixed up.
Goodfellas?
Well, yeah. I know a lot of people would rather they pick Goodfellas over Casino.
I probably would too, but I need to watch Casino again because I think I've only ever seen it once.
I think it's because maybe
because
Goodfellas has a lot more quotables in it.
Lines.
Yeah. That people attach to. That's why Casino might get overlooked.
Yeah, I don't remember too many lines. I remember scenes. I remember the head in the vice is pretty.
Head in the vice, the explosion and the.
Oh, in the outside.
Slow motion, yeah, like that type of stuff.
The rolling of the dice.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some moments. Departed.
That was good too. People don't really, when they mention Scorsese, they don't.
But that's such a good movie.
It's good. I forgot, honestly. When you said that, I went straight to Casino Goodfellas.
Well, I'll throw you a loop. My favorite Scorsese movie? Gangs of New York.
I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Gangs?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you've gotta see Gangs of New York, man. That's so good.
Leo's in that too, isn't he?
It was his first Scorsese movie.
See?
Young Leo.
Leo's in that, and
Daniel Day-Lewis came out of retirement to play the bad guy what was his name? Wow, Bill Cutting. Yes.
Who they say is a very good method actor.
Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis totally loses himself in the characters. Like, he's one of the best actors ever.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
He's my favorite character he ever played. He played that guy, then he played Lincoln, and this guy's like the polar opposite of Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I was like, I believed he was Lincoln. He doesn't look anything like Lincoln, but he
right.
Between the makeup and his acting, I'm just like, I feel like that's Lincoln. So that's acting on another level right there. But yeah, Gangs of New York is, watch that, man.
That's your top.
I really mostly I like it for it's just a well done movie, but I really like the set design, the costumes of the period, and it's just a part of history you don't hear about, like gang warfare in the 1850s, like during the Civil War. You just don't hear about it. People with like freaking, I don't know, like elaborate, like these characters actually existed. These people. I read a book about it, and it was just like these really colorful costumes and people fighting with swords in the streets. Like they controlled like the police and the fire companies and like the mayor, and they were all like, it was rough time.
And the party was great too. Like the last 15 minutes.
Dead.
Yeah, like I was like, what is happening? That like blew my mind.
That was good. Wahlberg wins again.
Yeah, of course.
Marky Mark. And we're getting into the stuff I thought was the best for the year.
The tippity top.
Tippity top for me was I saw Toy Story 4.
Yes.
And I thought it was very good.
This is another one that fell victim to my catch-upness.
And I was holding off on it because I was one of the naysayers, like, Toy Story 3 perfect trilogy. Mm-hmm. They wrapped it up so well they don't need a fourth one. And technically, I guess they didn't, but they made it work.
Okay, well,
so
that's good.
So yeah, it's still really good. So I'll recommend that one for you. John Wick Parabellum, I know you saw.
Yeah.
We talked about the high table.
Yeah. We know that. Well, I think there's gonna be a 4.
Well, definitely.
I'm kind of low key excited for the reunion of Morpheus and Neo
over the Matrix.
The reunion, and it's funny that I didn't put that together, even when, because they were together in the other movies.
King of the Bowery.
At that moment, at the very end, is when I put it together. It's Neo and Morpheus.
I really like the character he plays in that too, Fishburne, the Bowery King.
Yeah, I was happy he survived.
Yeah, I was too. I like that guy. It was I was thinking to myself, like, is he a character that is really like a good guy? He's very neutral, but he actually is one of the few oddly honorable people.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't seem like it because he's not as sophisticated.
Right.
But he's like, no, you don't mess with me.
Absolutely.
I will come after you and I'll stick John Wick on you. I'm not going to mess with John Wick.
What's his
McShane?
The name that they Baba Yaga.
Oh, the Baba Yaga.
They called him in the first one. I like this world that they've built now. It's fascinating to me. Sometimes when they do stuff like that with trilogies or sequels or whatever, and they expand on a world, it can get like, okay,
convoluted.
Yeah, they're doing too much, but it didn't seem this way.
I think they built up to it well.
Yeah, and I think maybe because of the subject matter, because it's assassins, you have to be covert, and the fact that they have the whole thing with the currency and these coins and all of that.
It is cool. I just love that everybody in New York's an assassin, apparently. Just like they're everywhere. It was kind of
now, granted, yes, that
gets
was a little convoluted. That part that he's
everybody walking in the park
at the end of 2.
Yeah, everybody in the park's an assassin.
When it went out that he is excommunicado.
But like, what
everyone's looking at like okay,
no actual person's walking in the park right now. That was a cool visual,
right?
But no,
yeah, and some of the scenes like when he's fighting in the streets and
no one's noticing. John Wick 2 was pretty ridiculous for that. I loved it. I will say, let me ask you this: have action movies ever been like so like artfully stylized? Like, has it ever looked more beautiful, man? Some of those shots,
great.
They just look so good.
And you know what I noticed? It's one of the movies, especially series of movies, that can stylistically do great fight choreography without that EDM background action music. Yeah, it's no music.
Yeah, little or maybe classical.
It's like some there's like classical music in the back, but I think it fits the scene they were in. Like when he was in the club, there was in the background, and then he went to the back where it was the bathroom.
Oh, you're saying it's not constant techno all the time?
It's not a part of the
soundtrack.
Exactly. Like the typical action movie. Once they start fighting, the music.
Yeah.
But this one, it only is music if it fits the scene. If they were in a
club or something.
If they were in a club, there's music. But if they were fighting somewhere on the street or just having to be in a house, there's no music.
Do you like that when they do it in movies? When they have music only if it's actually from a source in the movie?
I think it worked in this one. I don't think I ever noticed it before.
Huh.
This was one of the first movies where I noticed it. And I'm like, wow, they didn't even have any music. It was cool. I'm pretty sure it's not the first time.
Oh, people have played with that, but they do it well for sure.
I like the addition of characters. It was, like I said, the expanding of the world and all that. The only thing with the leader of the high table.
Yes.
I expected him to be older. That's the only thing.
I expected him to not be just hanging out in the desert.
I didn't think he would find.
I was just like, I thought he'd either be someone he'd be so powerful he wouldn't be found or wouldn't need to be found. Or I guess he seemed pretty chill for a guy who was like king of assassins. I mean, maybe that's the point. Like I'm just above it, so I'm gonna be a hermit. But I'm like, no. If you're the head of some evil, I mean, I guess there's a code of honor, but not really. I'm picturing some guy in like a giant tower with like tons of.
That's what I was thinking.
It was weird. It was a weird choice.
Or like he would.
He would find him.
He has some type of underground fortress under the sand somewhere. And
lifts up.
John Wick would just walk until he passes out, and then his people would.
And he'd be like the ultimate guy. Like you would like, I don't know, like have John Wick try to fight him, and he like one hand like takes him. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like he would meet with John because at this point
he needs to.
He's an assassin. He was a known assassin in this association before, and now he's excommunicado, and he's been killing like all these different assassins. So obviously he's going to take notice of them.
Is it as the old debate? Okay, let me ask you this: after the John Wick trilogy, would you still say he's more OP than the Equalizer? Because I still think that Denzel the Equalizer is the most OP guy. Because remember, at the end of that first movie, he kills the entire Russian mafia. Like all of the Russian mafia in the world.
Everyone.
They are gone.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I still say Equalizer is more OP.
Which is why I never thought they'd do a second one. I mean,
the second one wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Halle Berry, wonderful addition.
Oh, she was good.
She was good. I'm glad that the whole time I was like, oh, don't kill the dogs, don't kill the dogs.
They didn't?
Yeah, they didn't.
Didn't kill any more dogs. No more dogs died in a John Wick movie.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah, right?
We won't go past the first one.
I wasn't expected. You know, I watch so much movies and TVs and all that, TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
That when there is a twist, when I don't see it coming.
What the twist?
I take it. I like it that much more.
Okay. Yes.
And the final betrayal from Ian McShane.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
I thought when it happened, I thought it was like another ruse.
That's what I thought.
I was like, okay, well he's not actually gonna betray him after everything he did.
That's what I thought.
I was like, oh, he did. Oh, he's gonna
That's what I thought. I'm like, okay, this is part of the plan. They did this as a show for the adjudicator.
Then you see him, he's like, oh, he's actually messed up. That wasn't a plan. He actually shot him.
Yeah.
And then like,
and then when they looked and saw he was gone, and they got scared, I was like, oh, it wasn't a trick. This is crazy.
But that makes me so mad because Ian McShane's character was so cool throughout all those movies. And like, at the end of the day, he's just going to save himself. I'm like, after everything he did for you, the whole movie, he tried to save that whole thing in the hotel was badass. And, that was some bullshit.
It was.
And I didn't like that, but I was like, that's a great twist though.
Right.
That's a Han Solo
right.
death thing. Like I liked it, but I didn't like it.
Exactly. I do, and I like this. Just the world of like when he goes to Italy and he goes to
the Roma,
and he goes to get his suit made, and they got
all with the tailor.
Yeah.
And he's like, "And would you like what weapon would you like?"
Yeah.
They're a tailor and they're also like an arms dealer at the same time.
With your armor. The suit is actually a suit of armor.
And one little detail, like, remember how they sent in the super SWAT guys in the armor that the bullets wouldn't attack them? So what they do is they go really close to him and just like shoot him in the head. I'm like,
stuff like
that little detail, I love it. And how many action movies put that much care into stuff like that? That's why they're on a different level. John Wick's on a different, like, they care so much.
And I guess they get as real as they can get in this type of situation.
And it's still very comic booky and over the top at the same time.
He's over the top. He's super, but he's not invincible.
No, he gets hurt.
He does get hurt. He gets hit too,
and that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Which is why the Equalizer is more OP, because he doesn't get hurt even though he's older.
Right.
Because he never goes close to anybody. That's why.
Right.
That's why he couldn't get up close. But well, that's also why, and I appreciate that. It's why I think you got to appreciate all the creativity in movies, because these guys that got to direct these movies, they were primarily stunt guys. So that's why all these stunts, this action, they're putting all of their craft and knowledge into these scenes.
That's pretty cool.
Like, and these are the guys that Keanu worked with, I guess. So it's like, and he's big on the action stuff too. Like, I feel like Keanu Reeves, I'm gonna say it, I think he cares more about this character in these films than maybe anything else he's ever done. I think he just really is.
It definitely shows.
Because remember, like, just watching the scene of him really trying. I mean, the behind the scenes of him doing the training in the army, like going around, getting physically into it. Like, he is into that role. Like,
It definitely shows.
And I like that. He tried hard. I mean, then again, he was also really into The Matrix. He filmed most of that movie with his leg broken. That's why he doesn't kick much.
Really?
He busted his leg, and they had to go back to filming and I guess delay things so he could get physically trained up, because he damaged his leg. That's why when you see him fighting Agent Smith, he doesn't throw many kicks. It's mostly just the blocking and because his leg was messed up in the movie, but he still got up and did it. And that's how badass Keanu Reeves is.
Wow.
Like the pain that goes into movies, man, into the art. It's like
she gave him more credit.
People used to crap on him. I'm like, he does a lot for these movies.
He does a lot, but I think he's getting his flowers now.
Yeah. People love Keanu Reeves now.
Yeah.
Because he's also apparently a cool guy behind the camera too.
That's what I've heard that too.
He's pretty chill.
So I'm glad that this is, even though it was a trilogy, it was pretty good for a third movie.
But I was like, a fourth one? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So it's to that point where I'm fine with it. If you want a Fast and Furious it and just keep it going, see how long we can take this thing.
Oh, no.
I'm with it.
If they're this level of quality, sure.
I'll do it.
But I did not, I thought this was it. I thought trilogy, we're done. And I was like, oh, there's got to be a fourth one? Awesome. Like,
I know there were more questions, like the whole, I guess that was an orphanage where he went back to see Mama.
Yeah, I guess that's his family, the people that raised him.
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
And now this questions with that. Do they work for the high table? Like, is this like a pipeline, sort of like Black Widow type of situation?
Because it makes me think it's odd, because you've got all these different criminal organizations, but they're not all working together. It's like there's different assassins, but the assassins often work for like the different mob groups. So like, how does that factor in? So it's like, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. Because I think that the one guy in the second movie was trying to be the head of a mafia family, but does everybody else in his group not matter to the high table people? Because he's an assassin, but they're all not. Like, what?
Oh, yeah.
See, it's like...
And then his sister, Common, was like, he was an assassin in that company, association, whatever.
He worked for them.
He worked for them, but he was like the sister's bodyguard or something.
And he like had a thing for her, right? That's why he was after John Wick after that? Or
yeah, I think it was, they never really mentioned about a thing, but I think he was like her bodyguard.
Yeah.
and John killed her.
And he was like, no.
He knew John. They have history because they know each other from being in this group.
Them fighting and rolling down the steps and then just hanging out in the bar was really great. That was just a great contrast. They didn't bring him back.
They didn't. I thought they would.
Though the fight in John Wick 3 with those guys from the Raid. The Raid guys. I forget those Raid guys.
Yeah. So good.
That fight. Okay.
John Wick on a horse. Like, it gets to the point where it's crazy when you say it, but it works in the movie. John Wick on a horse.
It was great.
It was great. Horse kicking somebody.
Ow.
Great.
Oh, man. John Wick is just great overall. John Wick's great.
I never would have thought we would get here from the first movie.
No, that's the thing. John Wick
seemed like
it was like a unknown, like, oh, okay, this movie John Wick is just really good. Like, oh, it's a really good, solid action movie. Like, wow, I didn't think we were gonna get sequels.
Yeah. And
they were gonna be like build on this world. Like, it was just a more grounded revenge thing, but it was just really well done. And now it's like, it's evolved, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'm with it
too. I'm looking forward to John Wick 4. I really, I'm already hyped for it.
Absolutely.
I know you didn't see this one, and I gave you a list of the essentials.
You did.
But if I hadn't thought of, even though I think some of these other films were technically better, I think the movie that made me the happiest in theaters, kind of, was probably Godzilla King of Monsters. Oh. I just had a lot of straight fun in this movie.
You did say that.
Because I'm a big Godzilla fan.
And even in the trailers, it looked good.
It was fun. Yeah. Like, it's like they ignored. I mean, they listened to what complaints about the last movie, the 2014 one. You see monsters, you see them doing stuff, they're fighting. A lot of iconic Easter eggs and some old music used. The human characters were better. So Godzilla King of Monsters was a fun time. I think if you ever get around to watching some of the other older ones to appreciate the Easter eggs, you can. But even if you didn't, I think you would enjoy it. Wait, you said you saw Kong, right? Skull Island? No.
I didn't see that yet.
Okay, well, I think you could probably watch that before this. Like, they're connected, but they're standalone enough you don't need to watch it.
Okay.
But Kong Skull Island was also really good too.
I heard good things.
And the thing, I'm really hyped too because King Kong versus Godzilla comes out in like a couple months.
Oh, really?
Comes out like March.
I didn't know it was that soon.
Yeah, I was like, it's pretty soon.
All right, so yeah, I gotta, at least if I don't watch anything else, I gotta watch at least this one and Skull Island.
Yeah, the 2014 one. Have you seen that one?
Kong?
Godzilla, the 2014.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the last one I saw.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Because I didn't see the one before this one, King of Monsters. I didn't see the
like Kong.
Bryan Cranston, that one that came out.
Yeah, that was the 2014 one.
That's the one I saw. The one way back.
Oh, you saw the 90s one.
The way back, yeah.
Oh, that's not even really Godzilla.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, King of
Godzilla,
yeah. Oh, when he looks in with the Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its place, but it's quite a different creature. I'll tell you that.
Definitely 90s, you can tell.
Pretty impressive though for the time, actually. But King of Monsters was really fun, dude. Really fun movie. For me, it made me happy. Gave me what I wanted. But Far From Home, Spider-Man.
Also very good.
Very good. I mean,
very, very good.
Very good.
We talked about this too because you being a big Spider-Man fan.
Oh, love Spider-Man. I see the Amazing Fantasy thing, I think.
Yeah. And me saying one of my favorite villains is Mysterio because of how he looks. But he was one of the. We talked about that too. Because he looks
bad.
we didn't think that it would look good on live. It's one of those things that looks good in comics, but in live action maybe it wouldn't look good.
I'm telling you, man, it's because of Thor. The costume people, they did such a good job. Marvel can do anything.
Right.
They made Mysterio look awesome.
They did. It was crazy. Like he has a fishbowl in his head. And they made that look cool. It was great. It was great. And it was the same tone as the first one. And being the funny moments. I like that. I can't remember his best friend. I can't remember.
I forget his name too. But that character's really funny.
He's funny. He did a little bit more in this one. I kind of like the little side plot of him and his girlfriend the whole time.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Along with him having a girlfriend, but Peter trying to tell the new MJ, that he likes her. Should he do it? When should he do it? Like, it's very much they captured the essence of
Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, okay, he's a superhero, but he's also a kid in high school, and you're dealing with the things that kids in high school deal with. But yeah, you have to save the world. On top of that.
Oh, on top of that, yeah.
It was great.
It was really great. I liked it. Do you think Tony did a great job? Leaving everything to Spider-Man, putting this horrible AI thing in the glasses and almost nukes the bus.
That's the only. I mean, I get what Tony was doing.
I believe in you.
But I'm like, come on.
Wait till he's 18.
Why would you do that? Yeah. Why would you do that?
Because he's Tony Stark.
And that's a whole lot of foresight on Mysterio's part that he just knew that Peter would give him the glasses.
Yeah, I think Mysterio's a cool villain, but I don't think he's like that much of an evil genius.
That's what I'm saying. They had the whole thing planned out. I do like that too, how they showed how he was able to do his magic.
Oh, with the virtual reality stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, those scenes were great.
It was great. And I like the little backstory that they were all former
employees
at
Stark Industries.
Stark Industries. I like that. And Easter egg time, Talos. Although he's not supposed to be able to shapeshift, I do like that little post-credit scene where we find out that it's not Nick Fury. It was Talos the whole time. And it makes sense why when Peter was saying, well, get somebody, and he's naming all these people to get, it's like he's off world. They're not there, unavailable.
Making excuses.
Yeah. It makes sense why he would want Spider-Man to do that.
Though before you know that, it works well for the movie. Like, no, all this stuff just happened in Endgame. You're on your own, Spider-Man. You got to figure this out. There's nobody we can call.
Exactly.
For once, it makes sense why we don't call the Avengers. Like, it's on you, Spider-Man. You got to do this.
Exactly.
Oh, crap.
And it brings validity to
why Spider-Man's great.
That too. But also, like, when we see a superhero movie and it's like, all right, where are the other superheroes?
That's what's up.
They never like address that even.
No.
Like, look at this crazy event happening. Hello, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Spider-Man, anybody? Nobody else? Just Doctor Strange? Okay.
Hey, he's cool.
He is cool.
Like Doctor Strange.
But they kind of, address that. I like that. I like the little Easter eggs in it with the different suits that they put when he was picking his suit.
Oh yeah, all the level suits. Yeah, that was cool.
That was great.
You liked this one.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I like the connection that they put to Endgame with him still. Basically, he's not over what happened with Tony. What happened in Endgame, period.
No.
And now that's the point. He just wants to be a kid. He doesn't want to save the world. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man. Can I just have this vacation? But also, it's a life lesson too. Like, with great power
comes great responsibility. So
you can't just
take a break.
Exactly.
When you got something you got to do.
You got to do it. You got to do it. And it's Spider-Man, so the action is always awesome. So, all in all.
Did you think it was better than the first one, Homecoming? Because you know what has it over for me?
What?
It's the Vulture. Michael Keaton's Vulture, man.
Yes.
That twist, man.
I would say, thematically, and maybe movie-wise, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's bigger. The action scenes are bigger and all of that.
Yeah.
But I do like Michael Keaton's performance as the Vulture. And I like that they made the Vulture cool.
Yeah, the Vulture's kind of always been a personal favorite of mine, but it's partially because he's bad. It's kind of ironic.
Right.
But they made him really threatening.
They made him cool. Michael Keaton did great. I like the twist, like you said. All that was
I'll never... Did I tell you the story about the twist?
No. What?
When I saw it in the theater, when that happened and you saw that it was her dad,
yeah,
the entire theater gasped.
Really?
Yes. because even comic book fans knew that wasn't a thing, so no one saw that coming. The whole theater in unison was like, it was great.
Wow, that probably was a great moment.
That was great.
See that, and the post-credit scene. That's why I'm so glad. They said Tom Holland cried to Disney. I'm so glad he cried or whatever he did. That they're making the third one.
Oh yeah, I would be so sad if we never got more of those.
If we couldn't get a third one.
Rebooting Spider-Man again? No.
Because of that post-credit with his secret out, and everybody.
No, we'll never get resolution on that.
Yeah, and everybody hating him. And introducing J. Jonah Jameson.
That whole last sequence was great because first it's J. Jonah Jameson back, with J.K. Simmons playing him, so automatically
again, nobody else can be J. Jonah Jameson but J.K. Simmons.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But then we reveal, we're gonna frame Spider-Man, and we reveal his secret identity, double whammy. Whoa, what's gonna happen next movie? Never find out. Sony bought it back. No!
Just cliffhanger forever.
That sucks.
I'm so glad that they got them to change their minds. So yeah, thumbs up for me. I would say, based on that, like you said, for a movie, I think it's better than one. But thematically, there are certain things in one that are great that I love.
Gotcha. But yeah, I love the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies a lot. They really they capture that balance.
They're creeping up now. The nostalgia of the Tobey Maguire wasn't still there for me, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I liked the Andrew Garfield ones.
I do.
I did.
The only thing about I told you about this too. I think Tobey Maguire, great Peter Parker, Spider-Man to me.
Yeah.
I never really.
He didn't have the humor down.
He didn't really. To me, Andrew Garfield, great Spider-Man.
Oh, perfect.
Peter Parker.
Not really.
Tom Holland.
Both.
He knocks it out the park. That's why it's little, and it's the direction of having it back with Disney and back with Marvel and back with people that can introduce little nuanced things, like from the first one with him just shooting a web into nothing and oh crap, I can't really, stuff like that. Explaining what happens that the webs dissolve after a while, because that was a question I've had since I was a kid. What are they doing with all this web stuff that's hanging around? What happens to it? They answer that. It's just, the series so far as a whole, it's just been great.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
The only thing that's holding on to Tobey for me is the nostalgia factor, because
Tobey,
it's the first one. It's Tobey.
They have a charm that's still there.
It's the first trilogy. Yeah, you gotta love it, even though
emo.
The third one is.
That's
what happens when you do too much.
That's true, but sometimes when you do too much, maybe it's just enough. Like with Endgame.
This seems to be the only case where it works like that.
I liked it a lot. I mean, I feel like that's almost like, what a great. There's so many great things about it. I know that could almost be its own podcast.
Yeah.
But like for me, the thing
we can gloss, because we could talk forever.
Yeah, we'll gloss because we got to get to the final things here. But for me, I think the thing I liked the most about Endgame was how it's kind of the end of an era in a way, with Tony leaving.
Yeah, it's gonna be different forever.
This is a whole type of Marvel. This is its own thing. It feels like we're moving on to different things. I like the fact that if you stuck with these movies and enjoyed them, there's so many callbacks to earlier moments, story beats that get resolved, like so many heartwarming personal things, the humor, of course. I mean, just, and like some of the sadder moments, and of course the classic, I'm inevitable, I am Iron Man, like, just gets you right there. I was like, so for me, just that whole resolution just was great. I also thought Depressed Thor was pretty funny. I liked his arc was pretty great.
Yeah, it's a different side of Thor. Even like you said, there's so many stories that they captured in this movie with it, and still with the overarching story is great. Like him going back and being depressed, and him just getting a chance to talk to his mom again and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it was great.
It's like, you're Thor, man. You can do this. And he feels like he blames himself for what happened with Thanos. Like, if he had killed him sooner, he could have. Because they built him so much in the last movie. Like, they put all your hopes in Thor, and he let him down. And he really takes that to heart.
Should have aimed for the head.
Should have aimed for the head. And it's just. So it was kind of funny, but it was also like very believable and sad. And I like that he came out of it and he was I'm Thor again. I like that a lot. Very human side of the mighty god Thor.
Belly Thor. I love belly Thor.
I liked beer belly Thor. It was great. One of the many things I liked about that movie.
We do have people who didn't like it.
I don't get it. I only know one guy. Are there more?
Two.
There are two?
Ken and Nimrod for the same reason.
Oh, Ken didn't like either. Really? Oh, really?
And then I guess not say they didn't like it, period, but they're comparing it to Infinity War,
which was all action.
Yeah.
But they have to know. Of course they know that. It's like you gotta like we always say, you gotta have those moments to build it up, character stuff, so that you care about the action.
Right.
If it was automatically as much action, I mean, I guess maybe they want to just kind of get going without explaining. But it was a different movie. There was a different. We got to let it sink in what happened.
Because you got to think about how Infinity War ended. It's like
that's a pretty dramatic.
It's devastating.
To the characters can't just be like, they don't know if they can do anything.
Yeah, it's devastating, and then you can't just start off with straight action, and at least not with everybody.
No,
because you didn't just lose half the population. Like half of the superheroes are gone too. So it's like, what do? People who you relied on,
you
gone.
Can't. A lot of people had people that were their friends, their sidekicks, their partners. They're lost.
They're gone. So I don't think you could have started off. And I think because they say that the big fight at the end is like the only. I mean, it's definitely the biggest action scene.
There's a lot sprinkled out,
but there is some sprinkled.
The Cap versus Cat fight was really good.
That was good. I like that too.
That's America's ass.
Civil War.
Yes.
The whole time that they're about to redo the whole infamous elevator scene. You think, and then I could do this all day. Yeah, I know, I get it. It's
I get
hilarious.
This is me.
Yeah. Wow, I really used to be like that. Like stuff like this. Like you could see it in his face, like that used to be me.
I used to be more cringy.
The end fight is great, like because they were saying how powerful Thor is, but think that Thor was fighting everybody by himself.
Yep.
But calmly, not even without breaking a sweat.
It's like swinging it.
And then he said, "Oh, now I'm going to bring in my ships and just going to take over now." Since because what was that? That was the past him, right? Was that the past him?
That was the past him.
So so the future him, which will be the current him, it's like, oh, you're weak. That's why you're dead. I'm just going to take over and do what you should have did, and I'm just going to take over everything. Because he didn't learn whatever lesson he learned to get him to the point of, I'm just half the population, now my job is done.
He's a different character.
Yeah, because back then he's just,
I will have the power.
I want the power. But you give him the power, he's like, oh, well, I'm taking over everything. Because I didn't get to those experiences that led me to, no, I'll just do my mission and
that's true.
Get rid of half the world and then that's it. Live in peace.
Nice guy. Nice Thanos.
Because also this guy, he didn't have to, because that weighed on Thanos, you could see that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to kill his daughter. So that Thanos didn't have to kill his daughter. And in fact, his daughter is still with him. Mm-hmm. So he's feeling good. So that's this whole, in essence, it's a whole nother Thanos that they fight.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier with Captain Marvel, we get the, maybe they felt it was a little sexist. So we get the girl power moment.
I was cool with that shot.
The ladies come together. That was a good moment. I liked it.
I looked cool.
Looked great.
Yeah, it's cool. Female power. There you go. Right there. I'm looking forward to Black Widow. I mean, like, I don't...
At this point, Marvel can do whatever they want them
there. That's Endgame in a nutshell.
Pretty much.
So before we talk about my favorite, I know I missed a couple. I want you to just talk about them real quick.
We talked about two that comes to mind because I watched so much. I have a terrible memory. Brightburn was one, which was basically the unofficial Black Label Superman origin story.
Kinda.
But done by the Guns.
Was done by the Guns?
His brother was director or producer. Something. Yeah, I don't think James was directly, but his brother.
Nuts.
He correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while.
Correct us if you're listening.
The Guns were involved, and it's great. It was great. It was definitely basically a dark origin of Superman. Now,
already love it.
Obviously, it's not a DC movie, so they can't make any direct reference.
But it's a DC movie.
But yeah, if you know his origin, it's the same exact thing.
I saw the trailer. I'm like, well, that's a horror Superman movie.
Yeah. If Superman or Clark Kent grew up with some anxiety issues and some mental issues, that's what would happen. It was good. And it's rated R. It is gory.
Oh, no.
The deaths are there. And the ending was kind of crazy. It doesn't have that traditional ending where you think it's going to go. So, I won't go into details so you can see it.
Thank you. I will watch it.
Yeah. But it doesn't, but I liked it nonetheless. And they do have a little post-credit scene that's like fan service to a dark Injustice League, if you will.
Okay, Injustice.
So watch out for that.
All right.
And also Shazam.
Shazam. Everyone's told me Shazam's so good.
Shazam is good. I think Shazam is
the hope.
We were talking about this earlier. Yes, the hope of DC if they were to make a traditional superhero movie that people like, the Marvel style, quote unquote. The bright, very action orientated, but still funny, lighthearted, but some serious moments. That's what Shazam is. It's pretty good.
I think the main reason I didn't see it is because I'm not a huge Captain Marvel fan. I'm calling him that.
Technically he is first.
He was the first one.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I was like, it looked funny, but I'm like, I skip it. And then I did, and I'm like, everyone said it's like one of the best DC movies. Do you think it's better than Wonder Woman? Because that's still my top.
I'll say yes, because after a while, the slow motion got redundant.
Okay.
It got for me.
Okay.
So there's none of that. So
okay, all right, that's fair.
But I put that up there. That is the three that are the shining stars of DC at this point. Aquaman, Wonder Woman. To me, it's like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and then Shazam.
I thought Aquaman was a mess, though.
Yes.
But it was dumb fun, though. I think it knew it.
Yeah, and it's... Which came out first? Aquaman or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Even though Wonder Woman came out first, that's why I put it in that order. I think it's not as much of a mess as Aquaman, like you said, because I could see what you said. There are some...
Jumps around a lot, yeah. Some of the acting.
So, yeah.
His
chemistry with him and... But visually, it's great.
Yes.
The way they did the ocean and all the different places in it, great.
Yeah. And they made his costume look good.
Yeah,
cheesy
that's
one.
Another one. Yeah,
they did.
The original, I didn't know if they was gonna do
They did it. That I did like that.
Even the big green glove thing.
Like Aquaman is cheesy, so there was no way. I mean, you can quite make it dark if you wanted to, but it's a fun thing. And they said, we're gonna go with the silliness.
And it made it work.
It did. They made his villains work.
Especially coming from James Wan, who's traditionally a horror guy. I think this was great. Like, it's like total departure from what he does, and it was good. Even little stuff like explaining why Black Manta's helmet's so big, little stuff like that. I like stuff like that. So it did have some flaws, but all in all, I rank it above the other recent post-Nolan-verse movies. High. that's why I start with Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I think is a better cohesive movie, even though it came out first.
Mm-hmm.
Better cohesive movie. The only thing is that slow motion kind of overdid it for me.
Okay.
And Shazam is what it's supposed to be because you think this is a kid who's a superhero. So how dark? You can't be that dark. Like now there are some dark moments, because of the villain and all that stuff, and the villains that he encounters. But for the most part, the tone of it, and it's some heavy stuff because of who he is, Billy Batson, being in a foster home and stuff like that.
That's true.
Because it's taking room the Shazam family. I like how they did that too. It was good.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, you've sold me. I will
see that too.
I will watch Shazam. Is there anything else that you saw that you think is worth mentioning?
That you haven't seen? I don't think so. Because you did better than me this year.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, then one last question before we talk about this movie. Is my favorite movie your favorite movie, or do you have a different one? If you put your number one up top.
I would have said Joker.
Okay. Did really like Joker. I know that. We talked about that one a lot.
Yeah. But this one, I would have to agree.
Really?
And I watched it recently because I'm a Tarantino fan.
Perfect. All right.
And
works for me then.
Just yeah. So we could.
All right. Well then, spoilers. I guess. Wow. That actually, I wasn't sure. That surprised me. I'm really glad you. There must have been an inkling. You were like, I'm gonna watch this one.
Something told me to make sure I watched that one, even though that one's kind of long too.
But I'm glad you made that choice. I'm really glad. And my one buddy actually got this for me for Christmas because I don't know if he knew, but like, this was my favorite movie, and I didn't automatically think, but I'm like, oh wait, this came out. Oh yeah, this is definitely. Well, first of all, yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my favorite movie for 2019, and it might have almost been a given because it's a Tarantino movie, and he's like one of the best. He's one of my favorite directors, if not my favorite. And I don't want to assume that all his movies are going to be amazing A+ things, but they pretty much always are. So, and I was like, this movie is brilliant for a couple reasons. I mean, it's definitely his swan song to this idea of Hollywood and the time, and I love it when a film can really feel like it transports you into a time and how things were, little details.
Which is part of the reason why I like the Joker.
Part of the reason you like the Joker.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept of like the struggling actor with Leo's character is great. I loved his arc and his relationship with the stunt double, the framing of the Manson murders, and how he kind of plays around with history like he did in Inglourious Bastards and Django. It's kind of like sort of his thing. I'm going to take history.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it my way.
Do it my way, and I'm going to right these wrongs and really give you the satisfying death of these evil people.
And like I like that. I like the fact he's like, you know what? I'm going to use that for catharsis. Like if I could change it, this is what I'd like to happen. Mm-hmm. And there's something kind of cool about like some people might think it's disrespectful, but it's just an interesting thing he does. And I love how all of his movies are homages to things he liked to watch. Like low budget horror action movies that are cheesy. I'm going to make those movies and just make them really good and somehow transcend them into high art. It's like he's brilliant, and his dialogue's great, of course. But there's that, and then just the acting's really good, and there's two things. First of all, there's one scene, and you saw it recently, so you know, where the transition was so seamless. Where you've got Leo filming this scene, and you don't he's filming the scene of the show he's doing, and he's just going through his dialogue in the scene, and then has them like, crap, I fucked up that line. Hold on one second, take two. And it was so subtle.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's seamless. Like, oh wow, and you just the breaking of character of the actor he's playing, of the actor playing this character, and how seamless it was in that fusion between the cut and then going back, almost as if we're watching another thing and feeling like you're watching a show within the movie, but also seeing that break and also realizing you're watching an actor playing a character. How brilliant Leo is.
Right.
And I'm like...
And giving the viewer a glimpse of how a movie really looks.
And like the filming process of how you'd have a moment like that where you're doing a scene, crap, and then we're back in the zone of the movie. Just literally being just the magic of just filmmaking. I almost can't put it into words. That was great. That was just brilliant. That element, and then the fact that the whole movie, it's just like, you know what? This is a pretty chill movie. It's just about a guy going through his struggle, midlife crisis, and wow, this is a really good movie. It's just kind of going through this guy's life. I don't really know where it's going, but I'm still really liking it, even though it's not really like that violent or anything. Where's the violence,
right,
Tarantino?
You think, yeah.
You know, like Manson murders, and I'm like, okay, there's some tension. I'm like, where is it? There's weird moments, but like, no, it's pretty chill for a Tarantino. And then all the violence at the end is the most violent Tarantino thing ever. The most violent thing ever.
And that's why I like it, because
the build up.
He's not only playing on the tropes of Hollywood at that time,
like
but he's also playing on his own tropes.
Like how you're expecting it.
Of his own movies. Like, I know you guys, this is what you want. And if you notice in all his movies, the biggest action fight scenes, always the start of it is something is so calm and simple, like a meeting or a conversation that goes left immediately, and then all hell breaks loose. That's the theme of his movies. But this movie, it's like, yeah, I'll make you wait. And you think it's like in those scenes, especially, that's why I said if you're a Tarantino fan, you come to kind of see like, okay, the tension is building, like something's going to happen, and then it happens. But in this movie, he's like, all right, I think you know that about me. I'm going to make you wait.
So, like, no. It's
so
like...
you think, like, when Brad Pitt, I can't remember.
Yeah, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt goes to the ranch.
Oh, I'm like, oh, no.
That whole scene it's like you think it's coming. Like, you're waiting for it to come, especially when he goes to meet the old guy.
Like, oh, no.
Like,
it's like a horror movie.
Happen. Yeah,
like, oh, I got to get out of here.
What is going to... The whole time.
I'm like, is he going to make it? Are they going to kill Brad Pitt? I'm like, oh, no.
And then and he talks to him, and he's fine.
I was like, I know. I'm going to leave. Oh,
okay.
All right. So I guess they...
Okay.
All right.
And then he, like, punches the dude in the tire out, and he's like, okay. And then she says, go get Tex. And then it's like, okay. What's going to happen? The guy's going to...
No.
Oh, he left already. All right.
All right, okay. I guess it's fine.
Okay. So, all right. And then you're watching that, and then it gets towards the end, and they're building it up. If you know the situation with the Manson murders and Sharon Tate and the people that were in the house with her at that night, you know it's coming. And then, or you think you know it's coming. And he has a good way of doing that. Like, you think you know what's coming, I'm going to shift it over here. And still give you that satisfying conclusion. And it's so much like, so much foreshadowing and Easter eggs and homages to movies he likes. Like you said, his own movies, little things like Red Apple cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. It's the same universe. That's right.
Yep. Even stuff like his shots. And I noticed it too, like his shots with feet.
Oh, his foot fetish thing.
Yeah. It's prevalent in this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Little things in the movie, like showing Leo with the flamethrower.
Oh, the illusion.
Foreshadowing, you know it's coming. Brad Pitt with the dog.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great scene too. Just seeing his life.
The stuff you think is mundane in the beginning of the movie.
It has he's got it planned for it.
Set up. That whole, because I remember watching that, because I watched it. I'm like, okay, this is a pretty long scene, and nothing really is happening. Like, he's just making some food, and
which was
waiting
cool
for the dog to feed the dog, and I mean, it's cool that the dog is trained, but I'm like, oh, okay. It didn't hit me until towards the end. I'm like, all that stuff, something that made sense, and then you see the whole thing, that whole scene was to just show you that part. So they're at the end of the movie.
So you're paying attention to it, yeah.
Yeah, you know what that means.
Oh.
Little stuff like that. And like it's such a long stuff you think is mundane, there's a point to it. And like even the long flashback with him and Bruce Lee.
That was great. That was great.
Hilarious. Shout out to that guy.
That guy
played Bruce Lee.
I don't know if that's necessarily how Bruce Lee was. But that is definitely capturing the idea of Bruce Lee in our mind, the Hollywoodized version.
Yeah.
Like that's the legend of Bruce Lee, and the subversion of like, wow, we're going to establish how badass this guy is. Say, actually, he could have tussled with him. He didn't beat him because we never saw the fight go.
Right.
But he actually could go toe to toe.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah.
And little stuff like nuances in the movie of the whole thing of Leo being the actor, Brad being the stunt guy. In the very beginning, if you notice that bounty killer, I think the name of the show he was on.
Oh yeah.
There's so much foreshadowing in that for the movie, where he talks about, oh yeah, like you killed them all. Well, it was 3 of them and 1 of me. That's what happens at the end of the movie. The whole thing when the interview where he said, "Oh yeah, I do things. I'm the actor, so I do a lot of the acting stuff, and I'm in the situations." But he helps me, and he helps carry the load.
And you're right, and I didn't even think about it. He was involved with the stuff, but really, who takes out the bad guys at the end, does all the heavy lifting and the action? It's this stunt double.
So that's even the whole thing in the movie.
Their partnership, even in life, is outside of the movies. That is their partnership.
Exactly.
And he still comes in and finishes because the thing that was channeled through his acting that he knew, the flamethrower, he comes back.
And then at the end, what happens? They say that was Rick Dalton. They say that Rick is the one who
he gets all the credits.
He fought all these guys off and hit somebody with a flamethrower.
Even in the news and life, he's the hero, and Rick this other Dalton guy will never be.
Because he gets carried away in the ambulance.
Huh. Wow, I never picked up on that. That's great.
Nuance.
Oh,
it's so many motifs. That's why I said it's like compounded. If you are a movie fan, there are shots in this movie, like you said, I like being transported if it's a period piece. Like, I was looking every time they showed it's Clint or Cliff Booth or something like that's Brad Pitt's name. When he's driving, I'm looking at the background and you're seeing all the old cars and how it looked back then.
You feel like you're in 1969.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And it's just great to see that type of stuff. Like, it's fully immersive, I'll say.
Very immersive.
Very immersive. And then like it's like a juxtaposition of the characters too, because if you look at Rick Dalton, who's the guy who's out front, but a lot of his battles were with himself internally. Whereas you got Brad Pitt, who's behind the scenes, but all the battles he have are literal battles in the movie. He's the physical one.
I didn't pick up on that either. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I'm telling you, it made me think.
That's good. Well, that's a sign of a great movie.
Yeah, it made me think. I'm thinking of all this stuff compounded. So that's why I put that up there for me too. It's
just the writing and the direct, just everything. It's just on a. It's. I mean, well, let me ask you this then. As far as Tarantino movies go, like, how do you feel about it?
This one is sneaky, man. You know what? Honestly,
it's so good.
But I think that's why it blows my mind, because
it doesn't seem like a typical Tarantino movie.
Yes, that's why I was like, I wasn't excited about it. I wanted to see it based solely on the fact that it's Tarantino, because none of the trailers even had any type of
Manson stuff. It's just going to be about a guy's like trying to be in Hollywood. Okay, it'll probably be good, but it won't be his best.
About an actor in the '60s.
It's like it's not going to be like Kill Bill or Pulp Fiction. No.
Yeah,
but it's like it's so much more subtle and
it's
brilliant.
So subtle, but it's brilliant. That's what I said. If you watch movies in general and you pick up on stuff like that, like we were talking how shots with Kylo Ren would have pay attention to stuff like that.
You like those little details.
If you like visuals. That type of stuff, movies for that technical aspect, it's awesome. If you like Tarantino movies, it's awesome because it's full of those Easter egg things and nods and other things to his own movies and his own tropes that he's aware that we're aware of, and he puts them in there anyway. Like it's awesome.
Oh man, that I don't know if I could say it much better myself, man. That was really good. So pretty good pick for best of 2019.
I would say so.
That's really it snuck up on me too. It was really good. And
so for that's up there for me, man. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, you got Pulp Fiction classics. You got the classics, man.
Ranking the Tarantino movies is tough.
It's tough.
Because he doesn't have a bad movie.
No.
He doesn't.
No.
No, he does not.
All his movies.
Even Death Proof. I watched Death Proof again recently. That's a pretty good movie.
Even that.
Is it pretty?
Because it's somebody. Now this one I got from YouTube, so
okay.
I take all the credit.
Oh yeah.
But the stuff with the stuntman.
Mm-hmm. Stuntman Mike.
Stuntman Mike and his wife is, I forgot, it's Linda or something. She's a real stunt woman.
Oh yeah, the actress.
She was also in Death Proof.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole stunt woman motif is all through that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just layers on layers of stuff. And that's just for me thinking it's probably way more. If you go on YouTube, you'll probably find a million more theories.
As far as being transported goes, there was one little detail I really appreciated at the end of the movie. Well, first of all, there was the Red Apple cigarettes commercial, which felt very hilarious. Appropriate, but also the credits.
Yes.
Yes. Batman. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yes.
What a random send off. Yeah.
It was just that whole first of all, a cigarette commercial is hilarious.
And come out in context.
Yes. And the fact that
so good for you.
So good for you. Less throat burn. That's great. It's less throat burn.
If it's burning your throat, that might be a problem automatically. No. Status symbol. It's good. Oh man, that's dark. It's just really dark.
But yeah, great performances by the actors, and even the little girl.
The little girl actress. She seems. I feel like there's plenty of young actresses that are like that.
Yeah,
on point.
I think so. Like she is great.
She was like telling what are you upset about? Like what? Get over it, man. We got a scene to do. Like.
And the book he was reading is like a
metaphor for his whole
his life.
And he's like,
which is why he broke down.
I was.
What did he call her? Pumpkin pudding or something like that?
Was it pumpkin puss?
It was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Pumpkin puss.
Like,
this is a '60s thing to say to a little girl.
Yeah.
Like, does that appropriate? He's a cat,
Pumpkin puss. It's like, I don't answer to people calling me things like pumpkin puss, but you're upset, so I'll let that go. Like, this little girl's great. It's like, that was the best acting I've ever seen. Well, that's great, but you're like 8 years old, so
just so you probably haven't seen it, but she's very well studied, clearly.
Right. But it was good. That scene was good. And even the humor was subtle at points, because that little meltdown he had, he was like, "Oh, you had to have 8 tequilas. You should have had 4."
His meltdown over not getting the scene right, and so you're gonna. He's like, "I'll kill you if you don't act at the scene." Like I will kill you if you don't do this. That's like an actor prima donna thing, but it also seemed like a real freak out. I feel like we've all had.
I'm pretty sure that was all ad lib too.
Oh, with Leo probably. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Also, I feel like we're gonna end it, but Leo, as an actor, probably dealing with some of his own feelings about past his prime, wondering what he's gonna do. There's some real stuff coming through that performance, which it's just like I like that. It's like,
why would you have another drink?
I'm sure
I'm never drinking again. I'm never. And the next scene, he's taking a flask. Hilarious.
But it's like, I'll promise if I get the scene, I'll never drink again. Oh, so yeah, that was really good, and
also the last thing we saw Luke Perry in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Luke Perry performance.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell was there. He had, also, I like the side story where what they do when his star's starting to fail is he goes and makes Italian giallo movies, which is which is one of Tarantino's favorite things. All the corny horror action
spaghetti
westerns and stuff. That's really that's of course because that's his whole with Kill Bill and Hateful Eight and Django. That's
absolutely
all very
old spaghetti western / samurai movies.
That's his whole thing.
Yep. He just keeps making movies that he watches growing up.
That's the thing. That's why Tarantino, he's living the dream, man, because he's getting to make the movies he loved and the movies he wants to make, and he's brilliant enough to make them really good, and people love them, and they're great. I mean, they're just really good movies, and his whole thing is just kind of like homage to all the stuff he loved growing up. Right. That's so cool, it's awesome, you know.
And that's why I think he's one of my favorite
because
directors.
He's a movie fan first.
Exactly.
Like before he was a director, he was just working in a rental store, just being a fan of movies, and it's clear his love of movies is there.
If you watch enough of his movies, you know his style.
Mm-hmm.
Because even when you look at some of his older movies, they all, if you think about it, they have that certain aesthetic to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with Django, like the beginning of him having a theme song. Django. They don't do that anymore in movies. The unofficial theme song of the hero in the movie.
Not really, no.
Yeah, that's not done anymore.
It's a very old school,
exactly.
like 60s kind of thing. Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, I think that's up there for me, man.
I'll say it does make me think, though, if it's the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino, that means he always said he'd stop after 10.
Uh-oh.
Which is like, makes me very mixed feelings.
Yeah, right.
He always uses the boxer metaphor. Like, you go out when you're going strong. You don't want to go past that point. So I'm just like, he's chopping himself with this movie. So it's like, I'm thinking it's very possible the last movie
go out on a high note.
Like he might make the best movie ever, and then
movie.
Then you'll never see me again, guys. And like that's gonna be so bittersweet.
His magnum opus.
And I'm like, I don't know what that's gonna be, but this could have been it, and I would have been fine with it.
Right.
Like if this was his last movie,
sneaky brilliant.
But
sneaky brilliant.
Random question: do you think his 10th movie will be his own? Like he'll put the stamp on it, or do you think that will be standing in for or including the Star Trek movie he's going to do? Will that be a separate thing? Like, that's not a Tarantino movie. I'm just going to do a Star Trek movie because he says he really wants to do it. And do you think it would be a good thing? Because I feel like that wouldn't be his Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I think that might be a separate thing,
like a side thing. Like, yeah, I'll direct a Star Trek movie.
It wouldn't be
his style, right?
Yeah, it's a Tarantino movie, but it's Star Trek, so it's not like from his brain.
That's
you know what I mean.
One thing I hope it happens though, and that could be a separate thing. What would really show Tarantino's brilliance is if he could do a really cool Star Trek movie, true to like the show, the series, but not have his flair on it at all. Like to prove that he could do a movie completely without it.
You wouldn't be able to tell it was him.
Wouldn't that be brilliant? Like it was really good, but I had no idea it was a Tarantino movie. Like I could do other stuff if I wanted to.
Would.
Like people are all worried about it. Like, oh, it's gonna seem like really cursing and super violent. But like, he loves Star Trek. He knows that's not what it's about. He wouldn't do that.
Right.
And so like, wouldn't that be cool?
That would.
So I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. But what do you think his last movie should be?
I was thinking about that too. Maybe I'm thinking a whole new idea, like nothing
we've seen before.
Yeah, because there was a rumor that
Kill Bill sequel.
That was a rumor because the rumor was that he was actually waiting for Vivica Fox's daughter, the little girl,
to grow up.
He was waiting for her to grow up in real life to make the third one. That's why it took so long.
About the right age now.
Now, yeah. That and supposedly Django 2.
Ooh, with him teaming up with Zorro.
Yes.
You know what? I'm down for it. I'm down for that too.
Yep.
But we can't have both. So
that's the thing. Yeah.
What if he combined them somehow? What if it was time travel in a Tarantino?
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be great though? He'd pull it off. I'd be like, oh.
I have faith in him.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Well, what if you could pick? What would you prefer? Or would you prefer something else you couldn't think of? Or is there a random thing like if you could see him do some random thing? He's gonna do Star Trek. He could do something else. No sci-fi. Anything you think of? I got no idea either, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because this was random as heck. And
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I would have never thought about an actor and his stunt guy in the '60s. Okay.
Best movie.
Sneaky brilliant. Yeah. I feel like you would have to be, like I say it a million times, a movie / Tarantino fan to get the brilliance of the movie. If this is your first Tarantino movie,
you won't appreciate it.
You might be bored, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. It's our favorite right now. We really like it, but you're right. This very much isn't for everyone.
Right.
That's true. That's a good point.
If you're not a fan of movies to get to should I say, a technical fan of movies or a fan of Tarantino,
Then no, you won't. Probably.
Yeah, it'll probably be boring for you, honestly.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You got to be like really a fan of his and looking for the stuff, and it's like liking the specifics of movies and really, yeah, absolutely. No, but I agree with you, man. It was cool. So, wow. I'm going to look at the time here.
I think it's a record.
Yeah, man. That's like almost 3 hours. I don't know if that's our longest, but that's.
I think it is.
Yeah, it is. I think we might have done 2.5 once,
yeah.
But wow. So.
I kind of figured because we had a lot of movies to get through.
But I thought I don't. You know what?
Don't think.
Yeah. No. Long cast.
Yeah.
Good cast though.
Yeah.
Good cast. No, I'm glad you appreciated Once Upon a Time, how it was literally making me feel so happy. Like, just this movie's so good. I want to watch it again. I got it on Blu-ray over there. I want to watch it again. I really did.
And then you can through that lens, you can see what I was talking about.
And I'm pretty good at this stuff. I love movies, obviously, and I like looking for these things. But you brought up some stuff I didn't even think about. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Didn't even think about that. It's cool when you can be surprised.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. No, well, thank you for coming.
Oh, of course.
Definitely, next time I have you on, we can talk about some more movies or TV or just random other stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think I wanted to do like a horror cast with you sometime, talking about horror movies and stuff like that. So maybe I'll catch up on some shows at some point. You watched The Witcher yet?
I haven't. Have you?
No, but I've heard it's good, so I might eventually.
Like Henry Cavill. It's cool.
He said he'd come back for Superman again.
Oh.
So he's not done.
And rumor has it, they're talking about James Gunn overseeing the DCEU on a reboot and a Kevin Feige kind of thing.
Well, if the Guardians of the Galaxy guy was doing Justice League and stuff, I think we'd be in good shape.
I think so.
Just have some fun with it.
I think so.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to say signing out, and you can say bye as well, Mr. Cyborg.
All right. You guys have a good one.
All right, everyone, stay magical.